Good morning. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Am I audible and visible? Am I audible and visible? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Right. Put it down. Yeah, just hold. Yeah, good afternoon. ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅದು ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಇದೆ. Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible and visible? Happy Holi, all of you. Am I audible and visible? Great. Madhuri, Shabir, Kola, Drishti, Jia, Dinesh. Right. So last weekend I had completed ancient India till Gupta period. We had finished the Gupta period. We discussed. I gave you an overview of ancient Indian history. Then we covered Stone Age, Indus civilization, Vedic period, Maurya period, post-Maurya period, and Gupta period. So 7 chapters I have finished. There's one more chapter to go. That is the post-Gupta period. So today I would want to finish ancient India. So by completing this chapter, post-Gupta period, we will finish ancient India and then go to medieval India. I'll give you an overview of medieval India and then we'll start with medieval India. Right? So let's begin. So Gupta period, as we have seen, the Guptas brought most parts of North India under their control. The founder was Sri Gupta. The first important king was Chandragupta the first. The greatest was Samudragupta, and the second greatest was Chandragupta II, Vikramaditya. Now, after Skandagupta, we have seen this during the time of Kumar Gupta. Kumar Gupta was the one who built the Nalanda University. So during his period, we have the attack of the Hunas, the first attack of the Huns or Hunas from Central Asia. We have also one of the, um, you know, the uh, so here we have the attacks of the Hunas during the time of Kumar Gupta. And then also one rich tribe called the Pushyamitras also attacked the Guptas and they defeated the Gupta army, the Pushyamitras, which who were a rich tribe. But then Skandagupta, the son of Kumar Gupta, was able to repel the attack of the Hunas. He was also able to secure the Gupta Empire that way. Then we came to Skandagupta, last great Gupta king, during whose period again the Hunas attacked the Gupta Empire. Skanda defeated them and he installed a Jayastamba, a victory pillar at Bitari in Madhya Pradesh. But unfortunately, after Skandagupta, we have weak successors. The later Gupta kings were not powerful enough to stop the attacks or inroads of the Hunas. So the Gupta Empire collapsed like a pack of cards. So the repeated attacks of the Hunas, the rise of feudatories. So many officers under the Guptas, the governors, they proclaimed themselves independent when the central authority became weak. And of course, the decline of foreign trade. So all these three reasons, the repeated attack of the Hunas, the decline of foreign trade, that is the Silk Route, and of course, the rise of feudatories undermined the Guptas. And in place of the Gupta Empire, many of the governors, the Samantas who were under the Guptas, proclaimed themselves independent. And we have the fragmentation of North India, political fragmentation of North India. Small kingdoms came into existence in North India, North and Central India, right? So we need to understand, you need to understand which are the important kingdoms which came into existence on the ruins of the Guptas, the Chandras of Bengal, the Maitrakas of Vallabhi, the Maukaris of Kanauj, the later Guptas of Malwa. Then of course we have a branch of the Huns ruling over Malwa. So these are all the important feudatories of the Guptas who proclaim themselves independent. And of course, we have the Senas of Bengal. The um, you know, so all these areas became independent. You can see here on your screen. These are the important successors of the Guptas, the Pushyabhutis or the Vardhanas, who ruled from Staneshwar. Then the Maukharis, who had Kanauj as their capital, Kanauj in UP. The Maitrakas of Vallabhi in Gujarat. Kamarupa, that is Assam, with Pragjotishpur as capital. Gauda Desha, capital was Karna Suvarna, and the most important king was Shashanka of Gauda, who cut off the Bodhi tree under which the Lord Buddha had attained Nirvana. The later Guptas who ruled from Patliputra, from Magadha, with Patliputra as the capital. So these are the successors of the Guptas. UPSC had asked a question. So six successors of the Guptas. So they were earlier under the Guptas as Samantas, that is feudatories. And once the Gupta central authority became weak, they proclaimed themselves independent and established small kingdoms in north and central India. Are you there with me? All of you audible and clear? All of you audible and clear? Visible and audible? And you're able to understand whatever I just now spoke? Okay. So among the successors of the Guptas, the most important are the Pushyabhutis, also called the Vardhanas. Now, among the successors of the Guptas, the most important are these, the Pushyabhutis or the Vardhanas, and the greatest of the Vardhana kings was Harshavardhana. So today's class, I will start with the Pushyabhutis or the Vardhanas. We'll talk about the dynasty, the rise of Harsha, his contributions, etc. Then we will also talk about the Pallava Chalukya conflict. That is, in South India, we have two dynasties, the Chalukyas of Badami and the Pallavas of Kanchipuram. They kept on fighting against each other. So what is the reason for this Pallava Chalukya conflict? So we will talk about that, right? So this is the fragmentation. You can see on your screen, there's a map. This is the political fragmentation of India in the post-Gupta period. We have the Vardhanas ruling over Staneshwar. Gauda Desha, Bengal was ruled, then with Karna Suvarna as capital. Shashanka was the greatest of the Gauda kings. Gauda means old name of Bengal. Gauda Desha, Gauda Desh. Gauda, no, not the Karnataka Gauda. This is Gauda. Gauda Desh means old name for Bengal. Then, of course, we have the Maitrakas ruled over Vallabhi in Gujarat, right? The Maukharis ruled over Kanauj. So these are pretty much the important successors of the Guptas. And in the south, we have the Chalukyas of Badami and the Pallavas of Kanchipuram, who kept on fighting against each other. So we'll talk about it. So first of all, the Pushyabhutis or the Vardhanas. So let me discuss this. The Pushyabhutis or the Vardhanas. The Pushyabhutis, also called the Vardhanas. So this dynasty was established by Maharaja Pushyabhuti. He was the founder, Maharaja Pushyabhuti. He was the founder of this dynasty. The first important king was Prabhakara Vardhana. Prabhakara Vardhana. So he was the first important king of this dynasty. Now, so they ruled from Staneshwar. Staneshwar was their capital. The capital, in present-day Haryana, we have a place called Thaneshwar or Staneshwar. So Staneshwar was their capital. right? So this Pravakara Vardhana had three children. So I'm talking about the rise of Harsha, how Harsha comes to limelight, right? So he is the most important king of the Vardhanas or the Pushyabhutis. We will discuss the PPTs in some time. Let me give you a brief story of the Vardhanas, and then we will discuss the PPTs. So Maharaja Pushyabhuti was the founder. First important king was Prabhakara Vardhana, and he had three children. So here we have Rajyavardhana, the eldest son, Harshavardhana, the second son, and he had a daughter by name Rajashri, who was given in marriage to the Maukari ruler of Kanauj. So you can see on your screen, these are the Maukaris, you can see. So these are the Maukaris. Okay, so this is Thaneshwar here. This is where the Vardhanas ruled, and Maukaris are the neighbors, with Kanauj as capital. So there was the king of the Maukaris. Name of the dynasty was Maukari dynasty. So Rajashri was given in marriage to Grahavarman, who was the king of the Maukaris, with Kanauj as capital. So the Kanauj in UP, present day UP, that was the capital of Grahavarman. So Rajashri was given in marriage to Grahavarman. So here the story goes that Prabhakara Vardhana died. Prabhakara Vardhana died, and Rajyavardhana became the king. So he was the eldest. Rajyavardhana was the eldest. So by the law of primogeniture, what is primogeniture? Eldest son, primogeniture. Eldest son succeeding the father. That's the meaning of primogeniture. Eldest son succeeding the father. So by the law of primogeniture, Rajyavardhana became the king. Okay. Now, around this time, what happened is two enemies of the Vardhanas as well as the Maukaris, Shashanka of Gauda, Sasanka of Gauda Desha, that is Bengal, and Devagupta of Malwa. Devagupta, the king of Malwa in Madhya Pradesh, around that region of Madhya Pradesh. These two joined together. Shashanka of Bengal and Devagupta of Malwa joined together, attacked Kanauj. They attacked Kanauj, killed Grahavarman, and imprisoned Rajashri. So Rajashri was imprisoned. Right. So Rajashri was imprisoned by these two people, and they have conquered Kanauj. So we are told that Rajavardhana was distraught. He was very badly disturbed. He did not know what to do because recently he has lost his father Prabhakravardhana, and here he has lost his brother-in-law Grahavarman, and his sister is in the hands of the enemies. So we are told that the Pradhana Samantas, the principal Samantas, the Pradhana Samantas, the important Samantas, feudatories under him, they counseled him. They advised Rajavardhana that you are the king and you should take all these things in your stride and give leadership to your people and do what is necessary at this point in time. There's no point in losing confidence or feeling distraught. So do what is necessary. So here Rajavardhana, after being advised by these Samantas, Pradhana Samantas, took his army and he attacked Kanauj. So Rajavardhana attacks Kanauj. Okay, he attacks Kanauj. And he managed to kill Devagupta of Malwa. So Rajavardhana killed Devagupta. Rajavardhana killed Devagupta of Malwa. But then Shashanka deceitfully killed, Shashanka of Gauda deceitfully killed Rajavardhana. So Rajavardhana was killed by Shashanka. So Shashanka killed Rajavardhana. So Shashanka killed Rajavardhana, and these are the circumstances which brought young Harsha to power. Harshavardhana, he was just 16 years old, I believe. He was about 16 years old when he came to power. So circumstances brought him to power. Are you clear till here, all of you? Just know the story of Harsha. We will talk about it. I'll come to the PPTs in some time. If you can raise your hands. The speed is okay. The speed at which I'm speaking. Okay. Yeah, thank you, Apurva Jia. We'll continue. So Rajyavardhana killed Devagupta of Malwa, but deceitfully by through unfair means, cheating, Shashanka killed Rajyavardhana. So these are the circumstances which brought Harsha to power, and I believe Rajashri had escaped. Around this time, Rajashri escaped from the prison, and she was in the forests of central India, somewhere in the central India forests. So Harshavardhana, once he came to power, he sent search parties. He sent search parties to locate his sister, and then he took his army, and then he attacked Kanauj. Harsha attacks Kanauj, so and he managed to defeat Shashanka. So Harsha defeated Shashanka. He could not kill him, could not kill Shashanka, but Harsha defeated Shashanka and drove him away from Kanauj. And in the very first year of his reign, he makes Kanauj his capital. So Kanauj in UP becomes the capital of Harsha. Kanauj becomes his capital. And his sister was also located, and she was brought back. They are the search party which went to find out his sister, search for his sister, located her and brought her back safely. Now Harsha, from Staneshwar, he shifted the capital to Kanauj in UP, present day Uttar Pradesh. And Harshavardhana is considered to be the last great emperor of ancient India. He brought most parts of North India under his control. You know, most parts of North India, Bengal, Bihar, Orissa, parts of Assam, Punjab, all those areas were conquered by him. Of course, the peripheral areas like Nepal, Kashmir, major parts of Assam, they all remained outside his sphere of influence, zone of influence. But then they acknowledged his supremacy. They acknowledged his supremacy and paid tribute to him. So he brought most parts of North India under his control. So this is how he comes to power, and he had the title Harsha Shiladitya. He took the title Shiladitya. Shiladitya, Harsha Shiladitya. Now, Harsha is the person during whose period we have the second Chinese traveler who came to India, that is Hyun Song. So during the time of Harshavardhana, a Chinese traveler called Hyun Song came to India. So the first Chinese traveler was Fahian. Fahian came during the Gupta period. During whose period did Fahian come to India? Class, students, during whose period did Fahian come to India? Which particular king? Shreya. Which particular king? Chandragupta Vikramaditya. Very good, Jia. Chandragupta the second, Vikramaditya. So he is the second Chinese traveler to come to India, Hyun San. Yeah, Shreya, good. Now we have information about Harsha both from Bana and Hyun Sang. Who was Bana? Bana was the court poet of Harsha. He was the court poet of Harsha, Bana Bhatta. And Bana wrote a few books. What are the books written by Bana? Harshacharita, which is the biography of Harsha. This is the biography of Harsha. Kadambari and Parvati Parinaya. Parvati Parinay. These are the books written by Bana. And Bana tells us that Harsha himself was a great scholar. Apart from a great warrior, Bana tells us that he was also a great scholar himself. And Harsha wrote a few books. Harsha wrote a few poems. So he wrote Ratnavali. These are all in Sanskrit language, mind you. Ratnavali, Nagananda, and Priyadarshika. Priyadarshika. These are the poems written by Harsha, Ratnavali, Nagananda, Priyadarshika. And even Hyun Sang, who came to India during his period. Why did Hyun Sang come from China? He came to visit the holy place of Lord Buddha, and he wanted to visit all the holy places, important places connected with Buddhism, and collect Buddhist manuscripts, collect Buddhist books. So he came to India for that purpose. And under the influence of Hyun Sang, Harsha, who was a Shaivite, Harsha was a Shaivite. So initially, Harsha used to worship Shiva. So he was a Shaivite. Because of the influence of Yunsang over him, Harsha converted himself to Mahayana Buddhism. Harsha converted himself to Mahayana Buddhism. Right. So Harsha became a Buddhist, began to follow Mahayana Buddhism. Now, Yunsang tells us that Harsha every once in 5 years, that is quinquennially. Quinquennially. Quinquennially means once in 5 years. Once in 5 years, used to organize a grand conference at Kanauj. So this is called at Prayaga. I'm sorry, a grand conference at Prayag, and this was called Mahamoksha Parishad. This particular program was called Mahamoksha Parishad. And in this program called Mahamoksha Parishad, Hyunsang tells us that Harsha used to give away all his wealth to the poor and the needy, including the Buddhist monks, Jain monks, Hindu saints, etc., including the poor and the needy. So he gave away all his wealth, in donation to these poor and the needy, including the Buddhist, Jain monks, Hindu monks, and even the jewels he had worn on his body, even the jewels he had on his body, including the crown, etc. And he would come back to the palace with just a pair of clothes. So this is what Hyun Sang tells us. And of course, we have another religious conference which was conducted at Kanauj. This is called Kanauj Mahasabha. Kanauj Mahasabha. And this was presided over by Hyun Sang. Hyun Sang was the president of this particular Kanauj Mahasabha. So Mahamoksha Parishad is also called Sangitis. Sangitis. So once in 5 years, he used to give away all his wealth in donation, and he would come back to the palace with just a pair of clothes. And then Kanauj Mahasabha was held under the presidency of Hyun Sang. Now, um, you see, we have the important records of Harsha called Nilopitu. So, so important events during the period of Harsha were recorded. That is called Nilopitu. Nilopitu. So, what is Nilopitu? These are the archives of Harsha. That is, good and bad events, whatever good and bad events happened during his period were recorded by a group of officers. And that record is called Nilopitu. So these are the archives of Harsha. These are the archives of Harsha, right? Um, Now, after having conquered most parts of North India, understand this, I'll use another page. After having conquered most parts of North India, Harsha desired to conquer the South. He wanted to conquer South India. So here, you see, if this is South India, right? So Harsha had conquered most parts of North India, and Harsha's title was Sakala Uttara Patishwara, the Lord of North India. Sakalottara. Sakalottara Patishwara. So if we make a sandhi out of this, divide the words, so it will be like something like this. Sakala Uttara Patishwara. Sakala Uttara Patishwara, the Lord of North India. It would translate to Lord of North India. So he had taken the title of Lord of North India. So the Lord of North India, Harsha, desired to conquer the south. Probably he wanted to ape the Mauryas, copy the Mauryas, because Mauryas had conquered the whole of India. And we are told by Bana, his court poet, and Hyun Sang about the preparations, the elaborate preparations he made to attack South India. And after having made adequate preparations for him of himself and his army, Harsha attacked the south with a large army. On the banks of the Narmada, on the banks of the Narmada river, there was a battle. And there was one king here ruling. We have the dynasty of the Chalukyas of Badami. The Chalukyas. The Chalukyas with their capital Badami. Badami in the present day Bagalkot district of Karnataka. So Chalukyas of Badami were ruled by their great king Pulakeshi II. Pulakeshi II. So on the banks of the Narmada, this is the river Narmada, there was a serious battle fought, a closely contested battle fought. Initially, Harsha was winning. But then the tide of the battle changed because the strategy, Pulakeshi changes the strategy, and then slowly he was able to push back the forces of Harsha across the Narmada, and he was able to defeat Harsha. So we have, how do we know this, that Pulakeshi defeated Harsha? We have the court poet of Pulakeshi by name Ravi Kirti. Ravi Kirti, the court poet of Pulakeshi, in his Aihole inscription, we have a place called Aihole. It is a cultural center of the Chalukyas, the Aihole. The Aihole inscription, it is spelled as Aihole in Kannada language. It's not Aihole, Aihole. So in this Aihole inscription, we come to know that Pulakeshi defeated Harshavardhana. So Ravi Kirti in his Aihole inscription tells us that my lord, my master, Pulakeshi II, defeated the Sakala Uttara Patishwara, defeated the Lord of North India. So from that we come to know, and of course this is confirmed by Hyun Sang. Hyun Sang also confirms this, saying that Harsha was defeated. And river Narmada became the boundary between these two great emperors, Harsha and Pulakeshi II. So the dream of Harsha to conquer South India remained a dream. So here Ravi Kirti also tells us in the Aihole inscription that my master Pulakeshi II spoiled the Harsha of Harsha. Harsha means happiness. So my master spoiled the Harsha, the happiness of Harsha, by defeating him. Right? So this is what we come to know. So Harsha was a very welfare-oriented king. He built a number of dharmashalas. He built dharmashalas, hospitals for the poor and the needy. He gave donations, generous donations to the poor, including the Buddhist monks, Jain monks, Hindu monks, etc. So he is considered to be the last great emperor of ancient India. Harsha died in 647. Harsha died in 647 AD. Harsha dies in this period, 647 AD. Now, what happened to the Pushyabhutis after the death of Harsha? What happened to the Pushyabhutis after the death of Harsha? The history is hazy. It is not very clear. We are told that one. Can you repeat this again? Which one do you want me to repeat, Ria? I said the war. So we are told by Ravi Kirti, the author of the Aihole inscription, that his master Pulakeshi defeated Harsha on the banks of the river Narmada. And, so my master defeated the Sakala Uttara Patishwara. That is Harsha. Ria, are you there with me? Okay. So then Harsha died in 647 AD. The history after his death is very hazy. We are told that one usurper, usurper is somebody who had taken away the throne from the successors of Harsha. His name was Arunaswa. Arunaswa. He was ruling Kanauj after the death of Harsha. Is also called Arjuna Varma. Arjuna Varma or Arunaswa. Now, there was a Chinese ambassador to the court of Harsha. His name was Wang Yuanse. Wang Yuanse. He was an ambassador sent by the Tang Emperor of China. Tang dynasty was ruling China, and Harsha had good diplomatic relations with the Chinese emperor of the Tang dynasty. So Wang Yuanse came to the court of Harsha, and what he was shocking. He did not see Harsha there. Somebody else was sitting on the throne after snatching the throne away from Harsha's family members. So we are told that Wang Yuanse waged war against Arunaswa. Wang Yuanse waged war against Arunaswa, defeated Arunaswa, and then he put the successor of Harsha on the throne of Kanauj. Then we have another Chinese traveler who came to India. Um, his name was Itzing. Itzing. He came to India between 675 and 85 AD. 675 and 85 AD. Itzing doesn't make any mention of the successors of Harsha after that. He came soon after Arunaswa was defeated, sometime in 675, 685 AD, but he doesn't make any mention about Harsha's successors as such. So the post-Harsha period is very hazy. We are not very clear about it. So these are the Chinese traveler who came in this sequence. Fahian came during the Gupta period. Hyunsang came during the period of Harshavardhana. Then we have Wang Yunse. Wang Yuanse was the third traveler from China to come to India. And the fourth and the last was Itzing, who came after Wang Yuanse. Now, in the early part of the 8th century AD, Kanauj was ruled by a king called Yashovarman. Yashovarman was ruling Kanauj in early part of the 8th century AD. So Yashovarman claims, Yashovarman was ruling Kanauj, right? And he wrote a book called Ramabhyudaya. And he also patronized some scholars. Bhavabhuti, he patronized Bhavabhuti, etc. So Yashovarman was ruling Kanauj as such. This is about the, and of course we have the rock cut temples at Masroor. In Himachal Pradesh, we have the rock cut temples of Masroor, a place called Masroor in HP, present-day Himachal Pradesh. These were patronized by Yashovarman. He was the one during whose period these rock cut temples were made at Masroor in Himachal Pradesh. So this is about Harshavardhana. And please understand, Harsha was dependent on Samantas for his army. Harshavardhana was dependent on Samantas for his army. So major part of his army came from the Samantas. Right. Chinese traveler, yeah, I said the first to come to India was Fahian. So Fahian was the first to come to India. So Fahian was the first to come. Then Hyunsang came second. He was the second to come to India, Hyunsang. The third was Wang Yuanse. And the fourth was Itzing. In that order they came. Fahian, Hyunsang, Wang Yuanse, and Itzing. That's the order of the coming of the Chinese travelers. So this is, did you understand? This is about Harsha's period, Harsha's life. And Hyunsang gives us information about the Nalanda University. Hyunsang talks about the Nalanda University. Nalanda University was built by, who built the Nalanda University? Quickly, don't Google and find out. Have you revised the lessons? Last class, revive. Kumar Gupta, very good, Dinesh. Kumar Gupta, Pooja, very good. So Kumar Gupta was the founder, not Shilpa, not Chandragupta II. Kumar Gupta. Kumar Gupta was the one who built the Nalanda University, and also he introduced the worship of Kartike, that is Muruga, or Subramanya as it's called, Muruga, Kartike in North India. Okay, so Hyun Sang talks about the Nalanda University. He says this was a residential university. It had about 8,500 students staying there and about 1,500 instructors. So teachers were also staying there, 1,500 teachers, 8,500 students were staying there. And the senior students used to discipline the younger students, the junior students. And He talks about the library, three libraries, Ratna Ranjika, Ratna Dadi, like that. There are three libraries he mentions about. And Nalanda had a number of alumni, who had passed out from Nalanda, like Dharmakirti. They all they went outside India to teach. And so they were also a great alumni of Nalanda University. So Hyun Sang talks about it. He also tells us that he saw the stone palace built by Ashoka. The stone palace built by Ashoka was seen by Hyun Sang. He tells us that. Okay. No, not Hyun Sang. That was Fahian. I'm sorry. Fahian was the one who tells us that he saw the stone palace of Ashoka, not Hyun Sang. I apologize. I take back my sentence. Are you there with me, all of you? I hope there's no confusion. Okay. Now we'll come back. We'll just discuss the PPTs on your screen quickly. So founder was Maharaja Pushyaputi. He took the title of Maharaja. He was probably a vassal of the Guptas. Then Prabhakar Vardhana, first independent king of the dynasty. He had two sons and a daughter. You can see here, Rajyavardhana was his eldest son, Harsha was his second son, and Rajashri was his daughter, who was given in marriage to King Grahavarman of the Maukharis, who ruled from Kanauj as capital. So Grahavarman was the king of Kanauj. He belonged to the Maukhari dynasty. Then, after the death of Prabhakara Vardhana, Rajyavardhana became the king. So Rajyavardhana succeeded his father. And that's the time when Shashanka of Gauda, Devagupta of Malwa joined together, attacked Kanauj, killed Grahavarman, and imprisoned Rajashri. So Rajyavardhana went from Staneshwar to Kanauj. He was able to kill Devagupta of Malwa, but then deceitfully he was killed by Shashanka. So these are the circumstances which brought Harsha to power. Harsha comes to power in 606. He ruled till 647. So he's considered to be the greatest of the Vardhanas. So title Rajaputra Shiladitya. So he defeated Shashank of Gauda, and in the very first year of his reign, he occupied Kanauj. So Kanauj becomes the most coveted city, most precious city under Harsha. You see, understand this? Pataliputra was the most coveted city in ancient India. So it was the capital of the Magadhan kingdom, which became an empire later under the Haryanka dynasty, Shishunaga dynasty, Nanda dynasty, Maurya dynasty. So Pataliputra was the capital. Now, whoever conquered Pataliputra, whoever ruled from Pataliputra in ancient India, was considered to be the most powerful ruler of North and Central India. So there was a prestige issue involved here. Whoever ruled from Patliputra was considered to be the most powerful king of North and Central India. But now, by early medieval times, that is from the time of Harshavardhana, Kanauj took the place of Patliputra. Kanauj becomes the most precious city, most important city. And whoever ruled from Kanauj was considered to be the greatest, the most powerful king of North and Central India. And what we notice is, we come to early medieval India in some time. Three dynasties competed with each other for domination over Kanauj: the Palas of Bengal, the Pratiharas of Madhya Pradesh, and the Rashtrakutas of Karnataka. This is called triangular conflict for Kanauj, or tripartite struggle for Kanauj. So Kanauj had taken the place of Patliputra in early medieval times, particularly from the time of Harshavardhana. Are you there with me, all of you? Did you understand what I just now said? Clear? Uh, Dinesh is asking, what if Nalanda library wasn't burnt? Where could be India? Where would you? Yeah, of course, we have lost a number of manuscripts, etc. It was destroyed during the Turkish attacks. All the universities. So we have lost a lot of literature. Definitely, it would have enriched our knowledge. Whatever books were there in the library there, but unfortunately, it has been lost. So we come back here. So Harsha occupied Kanauj. Then he shifted the capital in the very first year of his reign from Staneshwar to Kanauj. He also defeated the king of Vallabhi, Dhruvasena II. Dhruvasena II of Vallabhi in Gujarat was defeated by him. So he conquered most parts of North India, Bengal, Bihar, Orissa, Assam, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Punjab, UP. So he conquered all those areas. Even the border areas acknowledged his supremacy. Kashmir, Sindh, Vallabhi, Kamarupa, they sent tributes to him. Hyun visited India during this period. You can see here on your screen. This is Hyun for you on your screen. Hyun. So he came by the land route and he went back by the land route. If you remember Fahiyan's story, he came by the land route and went back by the Fahiyan. Went back via the sea. Very good, Shilpa. So I went back via the sea route. Came to Sri Lanka from Tamluk in Bengal. He took a ship to Sri Lanka. From Sri Lanka, he went to Indonesia, then Malaysia, Palembang in Malaysia, and from there he went back to China. Whereas Hyun Sang, you can see this map on your screen. He came by the land route and went back in by the land route. So red color, that red, pink color, orange color is the route he came into India. Okay, and then the blue color line you can see here, that is the route he took to go back to India, to go back to China from India, right? So he from India back to China, right now. So you can see he brought most parts of North India under his control. This is the Empire of Harsha in pink color. This is the Empire of Harsha, and these are the coins of Harsha, right? So here Hyun Sang writes a book called Siyuki. He writes a book called Siyuki. Harsha renounced Shaivism and became a follower of Mahayana Buddhism under the influence of Hyun Sang. We have discussed this. Then Harsha's court poet Bana wrote 3 poems. Remember that? Harsha Charita, the biography of Harsha, Parvati Parinaya, Kadambari. Harsha wrote 3 plays in Sanskrit, Ratnavali, Nagananda, Priyadarshika. So I have told you all those things. And of course, we get the chronology of Harsha. The chronology of Harsha, it is mentioned in the Madhuban plate inscription and the Sonpat inscription. So these 2 inscriptions, Sonpat in Haryana, Madhuban, I'm not very sure. Maybe it is in UP, I think. Madhuban plate inscription. These 2 inscriptions talk about the chronology of Harsha, and the Banskera inscription contains the signature of Harsha. So remember this factual information. The signatures of Harsha are contained in the Banskera inscription. So he was a welfare-oriented monarch who built hospitals, dharmashalas. Once in 5 years, we have the Mahamoksha Parishad, which took place at Prayaga, right? Where he gave away all his wealth. Then in 643, we have the Kanauj Mahasabha, which was presided by Hyun Sang. Then we have the war with Pulakeshi II, the Battle of Narmada, as it is called. You see the picture here. I put a picture. And in this battle, Pulakeshi is supposed to have defeated Harsha, according to the Aihole inscription. It says that Pulakeshi defeated the Sakala Uttara Patishwara Harshavardhana. Sakala Uttara Padishwara Harshavardhana. Then Harsha had good relations with Bhaskara Varman of Assam. Then the archive of Harsha's period is called Nilopitu, right? Harsha died in 647 AD. So I have discussed all these things. Then we have Chinese chronicles tell us that an officer called Arunaswa had usurped the throne. Wang Yutze came. He was the ambassador sent to the Chinese king. He defeated Arunaswa and installed the successors of Harsha on the throne. But then another Chinese traveler who came to India by name Itzing doesn't make any mention about the successors of Harsha. So, according to literary evidence, in the early 8th century, Kanauj was ruled by Yashovarman, who wrote a drama called Ramabhyudaya. He patronized scholars like Bhavabhuti and Vakpati. Bhavabhuti wrote these books, Malati Madhava, Uttara Ramacharita, Mahavira Charitra. So, again, I go back here, make a cue card, make cue cards like this, right? 6 centimeters by 4 centimeters. And then whatever factual information are there, like for example, Bana, what are the books written by Bana? What are the books written by Harsha? Similarly, Bhavabhuti, what are the books written by Bhavabhuti? So in small letters, you write down and you keep revising whenever you're free, keep revising and looking at them, like the way we used to remember formulas in school, algebra formulas, etc., chemistry formulas, like that you remember. And that is the only way to remember. And then when you see that on the question paper, then it will flash. It will flash in your memory, and you will be able to mark correctly. Okay, because we have a sea of information, factual information. You have to remember them, right? Atish, I'm not very clear about what you're asking me. Okay, Buddhist Center of Learning in Mauryan Empire, Ashoka, Nalanda University was built during the time of the Gupta king, Kumar Gupta. Okay, so here this is about Harshavardhana, right? And we have, of course, the famous rock cut temple of Masroor in Kangra Valley, Himachal Pradesh. It belongs to the period of Yashovarman. So it was built during the period of Yashovarman. These are the rock cut temples of Masroor in Himachal Pradesh. This is about Harshavardhana. Are you clear, all of you? All of you clear? Can I go to the next subtopic in this chapter? Chalukyas of Badami. Hello? Can I? No. Yashovarman did not belong to the Vardhana dynasty. He ruled Kannauj in the early part of the 8th century AD. He had no connection with the Vardhanas. So I told you, the history of Harsha after his death is hazy, right? So we talk about Arunasva, we talk about Wang Yutse. Yutsing came and he never mentions anything about Harsha's successors. But in the early part of the 8th century AD, we have Kannauj ruled by Yashovarman, right? These are the rock cut temples of Masroor, Dinesh, you can see on your screen. This was built during the time of Yashovarman, rock cut temples of Masroor in Kangra Valley. There are 5 rock cut temples here, right? Dinesh, are you okay? Can we move on? Okay. So let us come to the Chalukyas of Badami. Chalukyas of Badami. Badami in the Bagalkot district of Karnataka. This was their emblem. You can see a boar facing right. So boar is the one of the incarnations of Vishnu. So they were Vishnu worshippers. So the Badami Chalukyas, 543 to 755 AD. Sir, who's Masroor? The name of the place, Mr. I mean Ria. Ria, it is the name of the place. Rock cut temple of Masroor in Kangra Valley. Masroor is the name of a place, not a person. Okay, so we'll come back here. The Chalukyas of Badami ruled. I'll give you the gist of this topic. Very easy topic, interesting topic. The Chalukyas of Badami. Now imagine this is India. So they ruled this area. The Chalukyas of Badami, present day North Karnataka. The Chalukyas. And their neighbors were the Pallavas. The Pallavas were here. Right now, so these are the Chalukyas. Chalukyas. And these are the Pallavas. Pallavas of Kanchipuram. Now, the Chalukyas were a plateau kingdom. Understand this, please. Here it is geography. As I told you, Chalukyas and Pallavas kept on fighting against each other. So here it was geography which determined history. Geography was the reason which determined history. What is the meaning of that? Chalukyas were a plateau kingdom. They were a plateau kingdom. So they were ruling major parts of the Deccan Plateau, the Chalukyas. Northern parts of Karnataka is semi-arid. Even now that's the case. Bijapur, Bagalkot, Gulbarga, Bidar. So all these are semi-arid zones over which the Chalukyas ruled. And they were a landlocked kingdom. So that is, they had no access to the Arabian Sea. So they were a landlocked kingdom. And moreover, it's a plateau kingdom. The main source of income for a king from ancient times is land revenue. Now, what type of crops were grown by the Chalukyas? Dry crops. They used to grow dry crops like ragi, ragi, bajra, jowar, etc. So, and only one crop in a year. Maybe some areas where there was water facility, they might grow 2 crops. So here, after the harvest, the Chalukyan king will collect taxes, land revenue from the farmers. And the amount of land revenue, amount of money which was coming from land to the Chalukyan king's treasury was limited because of the geography of that area. Dry crops, that too only once in a year in most parts of the kingdom. So limited income coming into the treasury. And moreover, they were landlocked. If they had access to the ocean, the Arabian Sea, then they could have collected taxes from the merchants, customs, custom duties from the merchants, and that would have supplemented their income. But that was not to be so. Okay, so Chalukyan king had limited resources, whereas the Pallavas were a coastal kingdom. The Pallavas were a coastal kingdom. They had fertile deltas. The Pallavas, two, three fertile deltas were there within their kingdom. So in those deltas, a lot of food was cultivated. A lot of crops were grown, 2 to 3 crops in a year. After every harvest, the Pallavan king will collect taxes from the farmers. So 2 to 3 crops every harvest, more money coming into the treasury. Apart from that, since they had access to the ocean, the Bay of Bengal, through which a lot of international trade took place, the Pallavan king would collect custom duties also from those merchants and traders involved in international trade. So apart from land revenue, he also had custom duties which he collected. So he had a huge amount of wealth, the Pallavan king. So they were very, very prosperous, the Pallavas, whereas the Chalukyas were not so prosperous. Between these economically two contrasting kingdoms, so economically they were in contrast, isn't it? Chalukyas not so prosperous, Pallavas very, very prosperous. There was a fertile belt of land. This is the Krishna Tungabhadra basin. Krishna Tungabhadra. The Krishna Tungabhadra basin. And the Chalukyas were desperate to have control over this area. So they wanted to control this area. If they bring the Krishna Tungabhadra basin under their control, their standard of life will increase. They'll have more income and therefore more prosperity. So they were desperate to have control over this area. And why should the Pallavas give away the Krishna Tungabhadra basin to the Chalukyas? They also wanted it. Okay, they did not want to give it at a platter to the Chalukyas. So this became the bone of contention. Hello, are you there with me? This became the bone of contention between the Chalukyas and the Pallavas of Kanchipuram. Okay, can you raise your hands? Okay, Dinesh, we'll come back here. Yeah, so you can relate to whatever is happening from ancient times, whatever present problems are there. You relate to history. We'll come back here. Now, what happened? Constant conflict. Conflict between Chalukyas and Pallavas resulted in both of them becoming weak. So, you see, war entails loss of men and material resources. It doesn't benefit anybody. War. So it results in tremendous loss of men and material resources. So constant conflict between these two dynasties resulted in both of them becoming weak in due course. The Chalukyas, understand this, please. Once you get the bird's eye view of this topic, it's very easy because rest is all factual. So the Chalukyas were succeeded by their feudatories, the Rashtrakutas. So Rashtrakutas succeeded the Chalukyas. So Rashtrakutas were the feudatories of the Badami Chalukyas. So once the Badami Chalukyas became weak, the Rashtrakutas asserted themselves and they became independent and they established their own kingdom. Pallavas also became weak because of constant conflict with the Chalukyas, and the Pallavas were succeeded by the Cholas. So the Rashtrakutas and the Cholas also fought against each other over this area, Krishna Tungabhadra basin. Rashtrakutas versus Cholas. Initially, Pallavas versus Chalukyas. Then we have Rashtrakutas versus Cholas. Constant conflict weakened both of them. Okay, constant conflict weakened both of them, and the Rashtrakutas were succeeded by the Kalyana Chalukyas, the Chalukyas of Kalyani. Chalukyas of Kalyana. Right? That is, Kalyana is present day Basava Kalyan in the Bidar district of Karnataka. So why are they called Chalukyas of Kalyana or Kalyani? Kalyana was their capital, or Kalyani was their capital. It is identified with the present day Basava Kalyan in the Bidar district of Karnataka. So the Chalukyas of Kalyana or Kalyani also fought against the Cholas. Then later the Kalyana Chalukya kingdom became weak. The Cholas also became weak. And the Kalyana Chalukya kingdom got divided into 3 parts. You can see here, what are the 3 parts? We have the Yadavas of Devagiri. Yadavas also called Seonas. Seonas. Then we have the Hoysalas. Then the Kakatiyas. Kakatiyas. So, on the ruins of the Kalyana Chalukya kingdom, three kingdoms were born. One was the Yadavas of Devagiri, or also called Seonas. Yadavas, I'll write here, Yadavas or Seonas. They ruled from Devagiri. Devagiri is a small town in the present day, Aurangabad district of Maharashtra, right? Devagiri. So, they ruled from that Devagiri as the capital. Hoysalas ruled from Belur and Halebid in present day Hassan district of Karnataka, and Kakatiyas ruled from Warangal or Oragallu. Now, the Cholas also became weak. Constant conflict. After Kulatunga the first, they became weak, the Cholas. And the Cholas were succeeded by the Pandyas. And later what happened? We have this Delhi Sultan called Alauddin Khalji. Northern kingdoms. Yadavas of Devagiri were defeated. Hoysalas were defeated. Kakatiyas were defeated. And of course, the Pandyas were also defeated, partly defeated. He was not able to fully defeat the Pandyas. It was a campaign which was half successful. But then all these kingdoms became weak. And later Hoysala kingdom was absorbed by the Vijayanagar kingdom. Kakatiyas also disappeared, and then we have the Musnuri Nayakas ruling over that area. Yadavas Yadava kingdom also disappeared. So this is about this topic called Pallava Chalukya conflict. So and what began in ancient times? It continued into medieval times. You see, we have Vijayanagara. Later, Vijayanagara fought against Bahamani kingdom. Vijayanagara fought against Bahamani kingdom over three areas. So they fought, of course, over the Krishna Tungabhadra basin, the KT basin, like the Pallava Chalukya fought over the Krishna Tungabhadra basin. They fought also over the Krishna Godavari Delta, and the Vijayanagar kings also fought over the Konkan coast, Marathwada, Konkan coast, where you have Goa and all those places. So this conflict over the Krishna Tungabhadra basin, which began in ancient times, continued down into medieval times. This is the gist of this topic. Are you there with me, all of you? Clear? Interesting. I hope it is interesting. This is the gist of this topic. We will discuss about Chalukyas of Kalyana, Rashtrakutas, Chalukyas of Kalyana, Yadavas, Hoysalas, Kakatiyas, Cholas, Pandyas in early medieval India. We'll be discussing about these dynasties in early medieval India. In ancient India, we will stop with Pallava Chalukya conflict. Can you repeat the last statement? What statement? I said Vijayanagara, Bahamani, I said what conflict began in ancient times over the Krishna Tungabhadra basin continued right down into medieval times, up to the Vijayanagar period, where Vijayanagar kings also fought against the Bahamanis over the Krishna Tungabhadra basin. So geography determined history in this case. Geography was the determining factor as to why these dynasties fought. Because of the limited fertile areas available. So they fought over that area, whatever was fertile. Okay, now we'll come back. The Chalukyas of Badami. You can see here, these are the Chalukyas of Badami, 543 to 755 AD. Now, who are these Chalukyas? So they ruled for about 200 years. You can see 200 years from Badami or Vatapi, present day Bagalkot district of Karnataka. So it is in the Bagalkot district. Earlier it was in the Bijapur district, but then we have new districts which were formed in Karnataka many years back, and now it has gone into the Bagalkot district. So they ruled from their capital Vatapi or Badami. Now Varaha was their emblem. Varaha, they were Vishnu worshippers. So that means they were Vishnu worshippers. And another name for Badami is Vatapi. Vatapi. And they fought with the Pallavas over the Krishna Tungabhadra Doab. You can see here on your screen, this is the Pallava Chalukya conflict. Chalukyas were here. You can see in the gray color. These are Chalukyas. Chalukyas. And these are the Pallavas. And they fought over this area. You can see that blue color, aquamarine blue color line. That is the Krishna Tungabhadra basin. The rivers Krishna and Tunga. Krishna is here, Tungabhadra is here. So they fought over this area, the Pallavas and the Chalukyas. Right? This is Badami, a picture of the fort of Badami. You can see this. There is a fort on top. This was the capital of the Badami Chalukyas. They built about 4 rock-cut temples. This is one of them, the rock-cut temples which they built, Badami or Vatapi. This is the fort. You can see the fort on top. Now, who were these Chalukyas? So there are a few theories as regards the origin of the Chalukyas. Basically, most of the historians agree that they were local people living in that area. They were a local, they were local native people of that area. Their army was called Karnatabala. So their army was called Karnatabala, and many of their kings were their names ended with Arasa. Many of the Chalukyan kings' names ended with Arasa. Like for example, Kattiya Arasa, Mangal Arasa. Arasa in Kannada means king. Arasa means king in Kannada language. So their army was called Karnatabala, the army of the Karna people or Karnataka people. There was no Karnataka during those days. But then it's called Karnatabala. And of course, the kings had their names ending with Arasa, or like, which means king. So from that we come to know that they were definitely local people, localized to that area. They originated from that area. Then we have another theory which says that they came from Ayodhya. Then Bilhana, a Kashmiri Pandit called Bilhana, he writes a book called Vikramanka Devacharita. So he says the word Chalukya is from the word Chuluka, that is the hollow hand of Brahma. Chulaka is the hollow hand of Brahma. So they originated from the hollow hand of Brahma, according to Bilhana's Vikramanka Devacharita. So these are all mythological interpretations. Local origin is this. They were localites. Okay. Now let us look at the political history of the Chalukyas of Badami. Let us look at the political history. So let me tell you the story here. Are you there with me, all of you? So let me tell you the story, then we'll discuss the PPT. Is that fine? The way I'm handling the topic, I'm telling you the story, then we'll look at the PPTs and it becomes a revision for you. It's fine. Okay, we'll come back here. Thank you. So the founder of this particular dynasty was Jayasimha. So he was the founder of this dynasty, the Chalukyas of Badami. He was the founder. First important king was Pulakeshi. First important king was Pulakeshi. So I'll use another page here. I can use it this only. I'll use it here itself. Can you explain a little slow? Okay. So Jayasimha was the founder, Ria. Then the first important king was Pulakeshi the first. So he makes Badami the capital. So basically, they were the feudatories of the Kadambas of Banavasi. So Jayasimha served as the feudatory of the Kadambas who ruled from Banavasi. So Kadambas were the first dynasty to rule Karnataka, parts of Karnataka. And they had Banavasi as their capital. Banavasi. So the Chalukyas of Badami were serving under the Badami Chalukyas, under the Kadambas of Banavasi, as their feudatories. So Jayasimha was a feudatory of the Kadambas of Banavasi. Then Pulakeshi defeated the Kadambas of Banavasi and that way proclaimed the independence of the Chalukyas. And he makes Badami his capital. Right. Now, Pulakeshi was succeeded by his son, Kirtivarma, who further expanded the kingdom. So Kirtivarma further expanded the kingdom. Now, Kirtivarma, understand this, Kirtivarma, so he defeated, he expanded the kingdom, defeated the Mauryas of North Konkan, the Alupas of South Canara. These were local kingdoms, local dynasties, Alupas of South Canara, the Gangas of Talakad, Western Gangas of Talakad, the Mauryas of North Konkan. So he defeated all of them, Kirtivarma, and he had a son. He had a son by name Pulakeshi the second. Pulakesi the second. And unfortunately, Kirtivarma was on his deathbed. Kirtivarman was on his deathbed. His son was minor, he was still a young boy. So Kirtivarma called his younger brother. He had a younger brother called Mangalesha. So he told Mangalesha, it looks like I'm going to die. My son is very small. He's still a minor. You take care of the kingdom. You run the kingdom on my son's behalf. And once my son becomes an adult, you hand over the kingdom to him. So Kirtivarma entrusted the responsibility of running the kingdom of the Chalukyas to his brother Mangalesha because his son was a minor and he was on his deathbed. So Mangalesha, after the death of Kirtivarma, acted as the regent. I have mentioned here, you can see regency of Mangalesha. So Pratinidhi means representative. So he represented Pulakeshi II and he ruled. And he was a great warrior. Mangalesha plundered the Latas. Lata means southern Gujarat. So Lata region, Malwa, Gurjaras, he defeated all of them and further expanded the Chalukyan kingdom. And Mangalesha is called the father of Chalukyan architecture. Father of Chalukyan architecture. There is a Vishnu temple. So totally 4 caves were hewn out in the Badami hills, in the Badami region. 4 caves, rock-cut caves were dug up. One of the caves is a Vishnu temple. It's a cave dedicated to Vishnu, and that was excavated during the time of Mangalesha on the orders of Mangalesha. So it's called the father of Chalukyan architecture. And we have the Mahakuta inscription. Mahakuta is a place near Badami, and there we have found an inscription. In this inscription, Mahakuta inscription, we come to know about the genealogy of the Chalukyas. Genealogy. Genealogy means the founder, first king, second king, third king, all the rulers, the sequential order of rulers. So in the Mahakuta inscription, we come to know it talks about the genealogy of the Chalukyas um, and also the military achievements of Mangalesha. Mangalesha's military achievements. Okay, are you clear till here, all of you? So founder was Jayasimha. He was the one of the feudatories of the Kadambas of Banavasi. Pulakeshi defeated the Kadambas and he proclaimed the independence of the Chalukyas and makes Badami his capital. Kirtivarma further expanded the kingdom, and Kirtivarma's son was a minor, and therefore he entrusted the responsibility to his brother, younger brother Mangalesha, and died. And Mangalesha is called the father of Chalukyan architecture. Now, can I go further? Now, look here what happened. So, Pulakeshi became an adult. So, from a boy, he has become an adult. And his uncle, Mangalesha, instead of handing over the kingdom to his nephew, wanted his own son to become the king. So, Mangalesha refused to hand over the throne to his nephew, Pulakeshi II, because Mangalesha wanted his own son to become the king. This resulted in a civil war between Pulakeshi II and Mangalesha. So there was a civil war which takes place. In this civil war, Pulakeshi was able to defeat and kill his uncle. So he killed his uncle. Mangalesha was killed in the Elapattu Simbige battle. Elapattu Simbige battle. So this is a place identified with in the present Anantapur district of Andhra Pradesh. A place called Elapattu Simbige. So there this battle took place where Pulakeshi defeated and killed his uncle Mangalesha. So when the civil war was going on, some feudatories, some governors, rebelled against the central authority. They wanted their independence. So therefore, once he was able to sit on the throne, Pulakeshi killed some of the governors, like Appaika. Appaika was killed. Another person called Govinda was pardoned by him, and Pulakeshi came to power. Pulakeshi ruled from 609. Pulakeshi ruled from 609 till 642. He was a contemporary Harsha, Pulakeshi II, 609 to 642. And Pulakeshi II is called the greatest of the Badami Chalukyas. The greatest of the Badami Chalukyas. So, Pulakeshi II, greatest of the Badami Chalukyas, 609 to 642 AD. Now, Pulakeshi, once he became the emperor, once he became the ruler, he began to rapidly expand his kingdom. So he was a warmonger. He was a great warrior and a warmonger. So he defeated many rulers. The Western Gangas of Talakad were again defeated. The Pallavas were defeated. The Mauryas of North Konkan, the Alupas of South Kendra, all these were defeated. Pulakeshi also conquered Elephanta Island. So Elephanta Island is off Bombay. So if you go to Bombay, you have the gateway of India. So you have ferry service there, boat service, ferry service. It's available only in the non-monsoon season. So you take that ferry, and then it's a lot of people will be in the ferry. So you pay money, and then you go, travel in the sea for about one hour. It's a calm sea, so nothing to worry. And then you reach this island called Elephanta, where there are six caves dedicated to Shiva. This particular Elephanta Island during those days was ruled by the Mauryas of North Konkan, a dynasty called the Mauryas of North Konkan. So Pulakeshi had a navy. So he had a navy with 100 ships. He had a navy with 100 ships. He attacked this island and conquered Elephanta from the Mauryas of North Konkan. Okay, now look here. I'll draw a map. Now look here. So here the Chalukyas are ruling here. Chalukyas are ruling here. This is the Chalukyan kingdom. This is the Pallava kingdom. Pallavas were ruling here. So this is the Pallava kingdom. Now there was another kingdom here. So what happened is, understand this. Pulakeshi attacked the east coast of Andhra. He attacks the east coast of Andhra, Pulakeshi, and he conquers the east coast of Andhra. So this entire area was conquered by Pulakeshi, right? And he appointed his brother. He had a cousin called Kubja Vishnuvardhana. So he had a cousin called Kubja Vishnuvardhana. So Pulakeshi, after having conquered the east coast of Andhra, appointed his cousin Kubja Vishnuvardhana as the governor of these conquered territories, with Vengi as capital. So Vengi becomes the capital of this conquered territory. And who was the governor? Kubja Vishnuvardhana. Okay. How did he conquer Elephant Island? By ships. Yeah, he had 100 ships. So he had a navy, Pulakeshi. So he put all his soldiers on those ships, and then he attacked Elephant Island and conquered it. Okay. Now, so entire east coast of Andhra was conquered by him, and he made Vengi the capital and appointed his cousin Kubja Vishnuvardhana as the governor of those conquered territories. Now look here, what happened. Pulakeshi was killed in 642 AD. How he was killed, we'll come to that. So Pulakeshi died in 642 AD. Once Pulakeshi died, in a battle he was killed, we have Kubja Vishnuvardhana, who proclaimed himself independent. So Kubja Vishnuvardhana proclaimed himself independent and established a separate dynasty which ruled the east coast of Andhra, the eastern parts of Andhra Pradesh, present-day Andhra, Telangana, etc. And these are called the Chalukyas of Vengi. The Chalukyas of Vengi. The Vengi Chalukyas. They ruled for about 450 years. Kubja Vishnuvardhana and his descendants. They're called Vengi Chalukyas or Eastern Chalukyas of Vengi. They're called Eastern Chalukyas. Mangalesha. So Puja, I said, Mangalesha refused to hand over the kingdom to his nephew. So therefore, Pulakeshi waged war against his uncle Mangalesha and killed him in the Elepattu Simbige battle. Okay, and then he came to power. So here, eastern parts of Andhra, that kingdom came to be called Chalukyas of Vengi or Eastern Chalukyas of Vengi. Now, why are they called Eastern Chalukyas? Because the Chalukyas are called the Western Chalukyas. Chalukyas of Badami are called Western Chalukyas. These are called the Western Chalukyas because they ruled western parts of India, western parts of present day Karnataka region. So these are the Western Chalukyas. The original Chalukyas are called Western Chalukyas. Right? All of you, are it clear? Now, when Harsha attacked South India, it was this Pulakeshi the second who defeated Harsha on the banks of the Narmada. So on the banks of the Narmada river, there was a severe battle fought, serious battle, and Pulakeshi was able to defeat Harsha. And Pulakeshi takes the title. Uh, just as Harsha had called himself as the Lord of North India, Sakala Uttara Patishwara, Pulakeshi takes the title Dakshina Parameshwara. He called himself as Dakshina Parameshwara or the Lord of South India. So initially Parameshwara and later Dakshina Parameshwara. So Dakshina Parameshwara. That was the title taken by him. The Lord of South India. Now, it was Pulakeshi II who began the dynastic wars with the Pallavas. Understand this. He was the one who began the dynastic wars with the Pallavas over the Krishna Tungabhadra basin. So I told you, we have seen this. There was a fertile belt of land here called the Krishna Tungabhadra basin. And the Chalukyas were desperate to have access over this area, gain control over this area. So we have the first attack of Pulakeshi. He was the one who began this Pallava Chalukya conflict, number one. So in the first campaign in 630 AD, understand this, 630 AD, Pulakeshi attacked the Pallavan kingdom. Now, who was the Pallavan king? Mahendra Varman the first. Mahendra Varman the first. He was the Pallavan king. So Pulakeshi defeated him in the battle of Polalur. In the battle of Polalur, he defeated and killed Mahendra Varman the first and conquered the northern parts of the Pallavan kingdom. Entire northern part of the Pallavan kingdom was conquered by Pulakeshi after killing Mahendra Varman the first in the battle of Pulalur or Pullur, Pullur. In the battle of Pulalur. And he has conquered the northern part of the Pallavan kingdom. After 12 years, understand this, after 12 years, that is in 642 AD, Pulakeshi, without any provocation, again attacked the Pallavan kingdom. Without any provocation. And Pallavas were ruled by their great king, Narasimhavarman the first. Narasimhavarman the first. So when Pulakeshi attacked the Pallavan kingdom, Narasimhavarma stood his ground and he gave a tough fight to Pulakeshi. And 3 battles were fought. What are the names of these battles? Periyala, Suramara, and Manimangala. Periyala, Suramara, and Manimangala. In these 3 battles, Pulakeshi was defeated by Narasimhavarman the first. So here, Pulakeshi was defeated by Narasimhavarman the first, and he was killed in this battle. Pulakeshi was killed by Narasimhavarman the first. And Narasimhavarma took the title Vatapi Konda Mamalla. So here what happened is, after killing Pulakeshi, the Pallavas began to chase the Chalukyan army. They began to chase the Chalukyan army, and then they conquered Badami. They conquered Vatapi, and Narasimhavarma takes the title Vatapi Konda, the conqueror of Vatapi. Vatapi Konda, Vatapi Kondan. Vatapi Kondan, the one who conquered Vatapi. And then Mamalla, the great wrestler. Mamalla means great wrestler. These are the 2 titles taken by Narasimhavarman the first. Mamalla means great wrestler. Okay, and he founded the city of Mamallapuram. So about 50 kilometers from Chennai, we have this beautiful town called Mahabalipuram. The old name is Mamallapuram. So it was founded by this king called Narasimhavarman the first. The modern name is Mahabalipuram. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. We'll come to that later. So he founded the city of Mamallapuram. And the Pallavas occupied Badami for 12 years. They occupied Badami for how many years? 12 years. Akshara, sir, explain me. Thoda Hindi language use karna. Akshara, this is no. See, there are many people who are non-Hindi here, so I cannot use Hindi. It's an English class, but then others might ask me to speak in their own language, so I would not be able to do it. But wherever you are in a doubt, you ask me specifically. You ask me, then I will try to answer in Hindi. Akshara, is it okay? Otherwise, I will stick to English. Only when you are in doubt and you're not able to understand whatever I've explained in English, then you ask me. Okay, Akshara, is it fine? So right, so we'll come back here. अक्षरा समझ में आ रहा है ना? जब कभी आपको थोड़ी डाउट होगी, क्लैरिटी नहीं मिली, तो आप हिंदी में पूछिए. हिंदी में बोलने के लिए बोलिए, मैं बोलता हूँ. Okay, we'll come back here. All of you clear? So was it the end? The question is, was it the end of the Chalukyas? Because you have the Pallavas who have killed Pulakeshin II, conquered Badami, and they have occupied Badami. Are you there with me? Can you raise your hands? Can I continue the story? Okay. What about others? Clear? Okay, now look here. So Pallavas have defeated the Chalukyas. They have occupied Badami. Now, what was it the end of the Chalukyas? The answer is no. This was not the end of the Chalukyas. Now, what happened? Pulakeshi had a son. No, Pulakeshi the second had a son. His name was Vikramaditya. I'll use another page now. I'll use another page. So Pulakeshi had a son called Vikramaditya. Vikramaditya the first he's called. He was still a young boy. So when his father was killed by the Pallavas and Badami was occupied, the ministers of Pulakeshi secured this boy. They took this boy and they escaped from Badami, the ministers of Pulakeshi. And secretly, and the Pallavas have occupied this Badami for 12 years. In that 12-year period, Vikramaditya became an adult. From a boy, he became an adult. Okay, he became a man. And the Chalukyas secretly organized an army. They built up an army secretly in this 12 years gap. And after 12 years, Vikramaditya, the son of Pulakeshin II, attacks Badami. He drives away the Pallavas. From there. He occupies Badami and he sits on the throne. And now Vikramaditya wanted revenge. So he attacks Pallavas. He attacks the Pallavas and he kills the Pallavan king, Mahendravarman II. Mahendravarman II was killed by him. The son of Narsimhavarman I. Narsimhavarma had died. So Narsimhavarman's son, Mahendravarman II, was killed by Vikramaditya I, the son of Pulakeshi. Now look here. Vikramaditya then attacked Gujarat. Understand this. Then he attacks Gujarat. So this southern Gujarat. He attacks southern Gujarat, this area. And that is the Latha region. This is called the Latha region. So he conquers this Latha region, Vikramaditya I, and he appoints his brother Jayasimhavarman as the governor of these conquered areas. So I repeat, Vikramaditya I, the son of Pulakeshi, attacks the Latha region, that is southern Gujarat, and he conquers that area and appoints his brother Jayasimhavarman as the governor of this conquered territory. And the successors of Jayasimhavarman ruled over the southern Gujarat for many years. This dynasty, which came into existence here in southern Gujarat, are sometimes called the Chalukyas of Gujarat. They're also called the Chalukyas of Gujarat. So you can see the Chalukyas left their imprint in many places. One is You have the Western Chalukyas, the original Chalukyas, who ruled from Badami. Then Pulakeshi conquered eastern coast of Andhra. And later Kubja Vishnuvardhana founded the eastern Chalukyas of Vengi, or the Vengi Chalukyas, with Vengi as capital. And later Vikramaditya, the first son of Pulakeshi, conquered a part of Gujarat. And then those descendants of Jayasimha Varman, who had been appointed as a governor there, came to be called the Chalukyas of Gujarat. Are you there with me? Okay. Yeah. Nikhil, okay, we'll come back here. So Vikramaditya the first, he is able to defeat and kill Mahendra Varman the second. He also defeated other Pallava kings, Parameshwar Varman the first, etc. Right? So you have Vikramaditya the first. You can see here on your screen. So Vikramaditya the first was, he re-established the Chalukyan power. Like a phoenix, they rose from the ashes, and then the Chalukyas were back in contention. Now we have Vinayaditya. So Vinayaditya, his rule was marked by peace and prosperity. Vijayaditya, he ruled for about 40 years. And during the time of Vijayaditya, we have great activity in temple building. Many temples were built during the period of Vijayaditya. He ruled for 40 years. Then we have the rule of Vikramaditya II. He is considered to be the second greatest of the Chalukyas, Vikramaditya II. I repeat, Pulakeshi was killed, then Vikramaditya I restored the power of the Chalukyas. He reconquered Badami, killed the Pallavan king Mahendra Varman II, the son of Narasimha Varman I. Then he also conquered a part of Gujarat, and those Chalukyas came to be called the Chalukyas of Gujarat. Then we have Vinayaditya, Vijayaditya, who ruled for about 40 years, and you have many temples built during his period. The second greatest of the Chalukyas was this man, Vikramaditya II. So I'll use another page. So Vikramaditya II. Just hold on. Give us a small break. We began at what time? 12 o'clock? Just hold on. I'll finish the political story, okay? And then I'll give you a 5 minutes break. We'll take a 5 minutes break. And then we can go 5-10 minutes break you take, and then we'll come back. Is it fine, Syed? All of you, is it fine? Let me just finish the story. I'm telling you the story. Then after the break, we'll come back and discuss the PPT and other aspects of the rule. Is it fine? All of you. I know it's not an easy thing to sit continuously and focus. So I want you to be focusing also. I know that. I'll give you a break. Just hold on. So Vikramaditya II, he is considered to be the second greatest of the Chalukyas, right? And then we have the Pattadakal inscription. We have a place called Pattadakal. This is one of the places where the Chalukyas built their temples, Pattadakal. So in this Pattadakal inscription, so this is one of the inscriptions found. This is the inscription found in the outside this temple called Lokeshwara temple. So it was built by one of his queens called Loka Mahadevi. So from the Pattadakal inscription, we come to know that Vikramaditya II plundered Kanchi 3 times. He attacked the Pallavan kingdom not once, not twice, but thrice. So 3 times. So thrice he defeated the Pallavas. Thrice he defeated the Pallavas. Pallavan kings, Parameshwara Varman II, Nandi Varman II, or Pota Varman, they were all defeated. Now, after defeating Nandi Varman II, Vikramaditya II did not engage in loot and plunder. Understand this. Whenever the Chalukyas defeated the Pallavas, they'll engage in loot, plunder of the Pallavan territory. The same thing was done by the Pallavas to the Chalukyas. Whenever the Pallavas won, they plundered the Chalukyan territory. But for the first time, we see restraint. We see restraint here when Nandivarman II, after being defeated, Nandivarman, the Pallava king, after being defeated by Vikramaditya II, gave his daughter in marriage to Vikramaditya II. So he gave his daughter in marriage to Vikramaditya II, Nandivarman II. This is the only instance of restraint between these two dynasties, right? Otherwise, they were always engaging in loot and plunder of each other's territories, depending upon who won. This was a time when the Arabs, you have the Arabs of Sindh, 712 AD. When it comes to medieval India, we'll talk about it. We have the Arabs conquering Sindh, Arabs of Sindh. So they conquered Sindh. But then, since Sindh was a desert land, it was not very full of resources, limited resources because of the desert area. The Arabs lost interest over Sindh and they wanted to expand out beyond Sindh. But then when they try to expand beyond Sindh into South Gujarat, we have the governor of South Gujarat under the Chalukyas. His name was Avani Janashraya Pulakeshi. Avani Janashraya Pulakeshi. So he was the governor of South Gujarat. He defeated the Arabs and spoiled the plans of the Arabs to conquer South Gujarat. This happened during the period of Vikramaditya II. So Avani Janashraya Pulakeshi was defeated the Arabs of Sindh, right? And the last Chalukyan king was Kirtivarman II. Understand this? Last Chalukyan king was Kirtivarman II. He was killed by his feudatory Danti Durga. Danti Durga, his feudatory, killed him and established the Rashtrakuta dynasty. Which ruled from Ellora as their capital. Initial capital was Ellora. The Rashtrakutas. Later, Malkhed, Manyakheta or Malkhed became their capital. So, Danti Durga, who was a feudatory under the Badami Chalukyas, killed his master, Kirtivarman II, and established the Rashtrakuta dynasty. This is about the Chalukyas of Badami. Are you there with me, all of you? So, we'll go for a small break. How much time do you want? How much time do you break do you want? 5-10 minutes? 5 minutes is okay? 5-6 minutes? 5 minutes is okay. Okay. Because we can go for lunch at 3 o'clock. 5 to 7 minutes break you take and come back. Okay, can we continue? Good afternoon. Can we continue? Hello. Okay, all clear? All of you are back? Now let us discuss the PPT. Atish, it's not Jayalakshmi, it is Jayasimha. Jayasimha Pulakeshi the first. Jayalakshmi sounds like a female's name. Founder was Jayasimha. Okay, Atish. Right, now we'll come back here. Okay, now let's look at the PPTs on your screen. Jayasimha, he was the founder, a feudatory of the Kadambas of Banavasi. So he was a feudatory of the Kadambas of Banavati. Then Pulakeshi the first, he was the first independent ruler. He defeated the Kadambas, declared his independence, made Badami his capital. And the Badami inscription, written by Kappe Arabhatta. So the name of the person is Kappe Arabhatta. He was the one who wrote the Badami inscription. It is written in Kannada language. According to it, he performed an Ashwamedha sacrifice. So remember the name of this person, Badami inscription. Badami inscription. The author is Kappe Arabhatta. Quaintly named, Kappe in Kannada is frog, frog Arabhatta. Literally translates to frog Arabhatta. Then we have Pulakeshi. I told you had two sons, Kirtivarma and then Mangalesha. Kirtivarma became the king. He expanded the kingdom by conquering the Kadambas of Banavasi, by waging wars against them. Nalas of Bastar. Bastar is in Madhya Pradesh, as you know. Then Mauryas of Konkan, northern Konkan. Then his son was a minor, and therefore he appointed his brother as his representative, and he died. So Mangalesha became the regent, right? He acted as a regent to Pulakeshi II. He was a Vishnu devotee. The Vishnu cave temple at Badami was completed during his period, and is called the father of Chalukyan architecture. The Mahakuteshwara temple was built by him at Mahakuta. So there's a temple called Mahakuteshwara temple at Mahakuta. And the Mahakuta pillar inscription talks about his achievements, military achievements, and also the genealogy of the Chalukyas. Military achievements is also mentioned. Then he refused to hand over the throne to his nephew Pulakeshi. That resulted in a civil war and in the Elapattu Simbige battle. So here in this battle, Pulakeshi killed his uncle and came to power. So Pulakeshi II is known as is called the second greatest. He's considered to be the greatest of the Chalukyas. Pulakeshi II. The Aihole inscription of Ravikirti. Ravikirti was his court poet, and the accounts of Hyunsang. So Hyunsang also visited the Chalukyan kingdom. He also from Harsha's kingdom he came to Chalukyan kingdom. He also visited the Pallavan kingdom. Hyunsang. So Hyunsang and the Aihole inscription of Ravikirti give information about Pulakeshi II, greatest of the dynasty. Original name was Eriyappa. He killed his uncle and came to power. Then he expanded the kingdom rapidly, defeating the Kadambas of Banavasi, the Alupas of South Canara, the Western Gangas of Mysore, conquered the Elephanta Island from the Mauryas of North Konkan. And Elephanta Island is the UNESCO World Heritage Site. Then he conquered the eastern coast of Andhra by defeating the Vishnu Kundins and the Ranadurjayas. So this is the east coast of Andhra. On your screen, you can see here. So this area he conquers. This area he conquers, right? So Vishnu Kundins and the Ranadurjayas, they were ruling that area. He defeated them and conquered the east coast of Andhra and appointed his cousin Kubja Vishnuvardhana as the governor of those conquered territories. So this is the Aihole inscription on your screen. You can see this is the Aihole inscription, right? Then this is Gharapuri, Elephanta Islands. So you take a ferry from the gateway of India and go to Gharapuri in the Arabian Sea. And it is about 1 hour by ferry, 1 hour. And you can reach these caves. There are 6 caves here at Elephanta, and they're all dedicated to Shiva, God Shiva. And inside one of the caves is the Mahesha Murti cave. That is, we have a three-face Shiva, the bust of three-face Shiva. Shiva has, creator, preserver, destroyer. and this is 25 feet in height. 25 feet in height. This is 25 feet in height. So this is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So Pulakeshi conquered east coast of Andhra and appointed his brother Kubja Vishnuvardhana as the governor of those conquered territories. And later, Kubja Vishnuvardhana founded the Chalukyas of Vengi dynasty. The Vengi Chalukya dynasty was founded by him after Pulakeshi was killed in 642 AD. Then Pulakeshi defeated Harsha in the Battle of Narmada. We have seen this. What is the main reason for this? Why did Pulakeshi and Harsha fight against each other? There are two reasons. One is the conquest of Vallabhi by Harsha. Vallabhi is in Gujarat. So this is number one. So parts of Gujarat, the Chalukyan kingdom was very close to central India, Malwa, southern Gujarat, etc. So Vallabhi was conquered by Harsha. So Harsha's territory came very close to Pulakeshi's territory. And secondly, the overlordship over the Latas, Malwas, Gurjaras. So here, these three powers, Latas, Malwas, Gurjaras, who should be the overlord of these three areas, of these three people? Whether it was Harsha, Harsha said, I am the overlord, they are accountable to me. Pulakeshi said, they are accountable to me. No, they are not accountable to you. So ego issues, and ultimately you have a war which was fought. And of course, Harsha wanted to conquer South India. But then the Aihoda inscription tells us that Pulakeshi was defeated Harshavardhana. And Hyun Sang also confirms this particular information. So after this, he assumed the title Dakshina Parameshwara or Dakshina Pateshwara. So these are the Battle of Narmada, and Pulakeshi took the title Dakshina Pateshwara, the Lord of South India. The Lord of South India. Right. So this is the empire of Pulakeshi on your screen. Then Pulakeshi was responsible for starting dynastic wars with the Pallavas. So in the first expedition, he defeated and killed Mahendravarman I in the Battle of Pulalur, and he conquered northern parts of the Pallavan kingdom. 12 years later, we have Pulakeshi again attacking the Pallavan kingdom, but in three battles, Padiyala, Manimangala, and Suramara. In these three battles, Narasimhavarman I killed Pulakeshi and occupied Badami and took the title Vatapi Konda Mamalla. Badami came under the control of the Pallavas. So for 12 years, the Pallavas occupied Badami. And like the phoenix bird which rises from the ashes, we have the Chalukyas rising again under Pulakeshi's son Vikramaditya the first. We'll come to that. Now, Pulakeshi sent an ambassador to Persia. Persia is the name of Iran. Old name of Iran is Persia. So he sent an ambassador to Persia, to the king Khusru II. The king of Persia or Iran was Khusru II. And Khusru II, in turn, returned an ambassador to Pulakeshi's court. So Khusru sent an ambassador to the court of Pulakeshi. And in a painting at Ajanta, in Ajanta cave, there are 29 caves at Ajanta. Some books say 30 caves. In cave number 1, in the first cave number 1 at Ajanta, we have a painting where Pulakeshi is seen receiving the Persian ambassador sent by the Persian king Khusru II. So he is receiving him, welcoming him. This painting has got damaged because of weathering, so because of weathering, it has got damaged. So we have a sketch made. A sketch has been made about this painting. Originally, how it looked. It's very similar to the original painting, but this is more of a sketch. You can see here on your screen. Pulakeshi is sitting on a throne. Yeah, he's sitting on the throne, and this is the ambassador sent by the Persian king Khusro II. So Pulakeshi is seen receiving the Persian ambassador. This is in Ajanta cave number 1. Ajanta cave number 1. Right? Then Hyun Sang visited the court of Pulakeshi. Hyun Sang came there and he talks about the socio-economic conditions of the kingdom. Then we have Vikramaditya the first. So after 12 years, he drove away the occupying Pallavan forces. Then he invaded the Pallavan kingdom and killed Mahendravarman II, the son of Narasimhavarman I. Then he defeated the Pallava king Parameshwaravarman also in the battle of Peruvallanalluru. So Peruvallanalluru. So in this battle, he defeated Parameshwara the first and later Narsimha the second also. Then he conquered the Latha region, southern Gujarat region, appointed his brother Jayasimha Varman as a governor of those conquered areas, and his successors ruled Gujarat for a long time. They came to be called as the Chalukyas of Gujarat. Right? We have discussed this. Then we have Vinayaditya. So generally a peaceful reign. He is supposed to have sent an expedition to Cambodia, defeated the ruler of Kannauj also. Vijayaditya ruled for 40 years, longest reign. And we have the Arabs conquering Sindh in 712 AD. So Arabs conquered Sindh during his period, Vijayaditya's period. Vijayaditya was a Chalukyan king. And his queen Vinayavati installed these images in the Badami cave, Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesha. So these three idols were kept inside the Badami cave. And great activity in temple building was witnessed during his period. The second greatest Chalukya was this man, Vikramaditya II, second greatest. He plundered Kanchi three times. So he invaded the Pallavan kingdom three times. We come to know from the Pattadakal inscription found in the Virupaksha temple, built by Loka Mahadevi, one of his queens. In that, we come to know that he attacked Kanchi thrice. He defeated Parameshwara Varman II, Nandi Varman II, or Pota Varman. And the third invasion was led by his son, right? And the Chalukyan feudatory of Navasarika, southern Gujarat. So when the Arabs tried to expand beyond Sindh and they tried to conquer southern Gujarat, his governor of southern Gujarat, Avani Janashraya Pulakeshi, defeated the Arabs, right? Then we have his queens Loka Mahadevi and Trilokya Mahadevi. They built these temples, Virupaksha temple or Lokeshwara temple and Trilokeshwara temple or Mallikajuna temple at Pattadakal. These are in Pattadakal. It was built by his two queens, Vikramaditya II. And the last ruler was Kirtivarma II. One of his governors, Danti Durga, killed him and founded the Rashtrakuta dynasty. Are you there with me? So we have discussed the PPTs. Any doubts, any questions? Any doubts, any questions here? Can we move on? Okay. Yeah, Ria, PPT must have been shared with you all of you already. No, PPT has not been shared. I thought it would have been shared. Rashtrakuta, Ganesh, Rashtrakutas were the feudatories under the Chalukyas of Badami. So you have Kirtivarma II, who was killed by Danti Durga, his feudatory, who established the Rashtrakuta kingdom. Ganesh. Okay, I will follow that up, Jia. In the lunch break, I'll call up the concerned person and I'll inform him and I'll ask him to upload. So I'm not very sure. Okay, I'll follow that up. Don't worry. So Governor of Southern Gujarat, Dinesh, was Amani Janashraya Pulakeshi. You can see here, Amani Jashraya Pulakeshi. Amani Jashraya. Amani Jashraya Pulakeshi. So he was the governor of Southern Gujarat who defeated the Arabs. Dinesh, clear? Dinesh? Okay. So the Chalukyas of Badami, we look at other aspects of the rule. It was a centralized administration. Even the villages were not given autonomy. They were responsible for the Vesara style of temple architecture. So when I come to art and architecture, we'll talk about it as part of art and culture. So what is Vesara style? It's a combination of North Indian Nagara, Vesara style. You see, they ruled a buffer zone. They ruled somewhere in near central India, between north and south. So since they ruled over this buffer zone, we have both Nagara, that is North Indian style of temple building is called Nagara. South Indian style is called Dravida. So a combination of these two is called Vesara. So Vesara style of temple building was developed by the Chalukyas of Badami. And their monuments are found at Aihole, Badami, Pattadakal. Aihole, Badami, Pattadakal. This is one of the temples, the Durga temple at Aihole. And this is this is one of the temples at Pattadakal. Right. So basically, it was a centralized administration. You have the king assisted by a council of ministers. Then you have the kingdom divided into districts. You can see here, kingdom was divided into districts called Vishaya or Mandala under a Vishayadipati and or Mandalapati. So Vishayadipati or Mandaladipati. Village was under a Gauda. Village headman was called Gauda or Gaunda, assisted by a council called Mahajana and an officer called Grama Bhogika or Karana. He was accountant, right? So this is how it was. So a kingdom divided into districts into villages under a village headman, assisted by a council called Mahajana and an accountant called Grama Bhogika or Karana. So their army was called Karnatabala. We have seen this. Dandanayaka was the commander of the army, commander in chief, Dandanayaka. And Pulakeshi also had a navy of 100 ships. Then the Chalukyas, the main source of income was agriculture. That was their main source of income. That is called Siddhaya. Land revenue was called Siddhaya. And they built a number of tanks. We find many tanks built in the Haveri district of Karnataka. The Shiggaon copper plates talk about it. They also collected taxes like these: Harjenka, tax on shares; Birnode, tax on trade; Pannaya, tax on betel leaf, etc. So weaving was an important occupation. Then we have Shrenis. Shrenis are merchant guilds. Shrenis played an important role. There are 18 Shrenis mentioned in the Badami inscription, like Aihole 500, Kalkutiga, Uppara. So Shreni is a merchant guild. What's a guild? A guild is an association of merchants dealing with the same commodity. Guild, association of merchants dealing with the same commodity. Dealing with the same commodity. That's called a guild or a shreni. Okay, and these shrenis made rules. That is called shreni dharma. So if you're a member of a guild, you are supposed to follow the rules made by the shreni. That's called shreni dharma. They also had a bala, shreni bala. That is a militia to guard the goods. Shreni bala. So generally, it also had judicial powers. The Shrenis had judicial powers. It could punish its members if they violated some of the rules. The ultimate authority over the guilds was the king. King was the ultimate authority. So if there was any differences within the guild, they will go to the king. Otherwise, they'll solve it amongst themselves. The Chalukyas were Brahminical Hindus. They traded with Persia also. You have religious tolerance, Shaivism, Vaishnavism, Jainism. It flourished, and Hyun tells us that Buddhism existed in the kingdom, right? So this is about the Chalukyas. We have some queens involving themselves in administration. They also give donations to temples, built temples. Like Vinayavati installed the idols of Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesha. Kumkuma Mahadevi built a Jain temple at Gudigere called Ane Sajje. So these are all factual information. Please go through them and make your notes, small notes you make and revise. That should be enough. Right? And then the Tripadi form of poetry came into existence. The Badami inscription is in the Tripadi form. So 3 lines, poems written in 3 lines is called Tripadi. Kannada was their state language. Right? My voice is cracking. Ria, what about others? Is my voice cracking? What about others? Not clear? Shruti says yes. Ganesh, is there any problem in the voice? What about others? Clear, they say. In between, yes, now fine. Okay, Ria, now it is fine, she says, Ria. Okay, we'll come back. So this is about the Chalukyas of Badami. Right? So here, let us come to the next dynasty, the Pallavas of Kanchipuram. So whatever PPTs have not been not been uploaded, please can you write a mail to me? In the gap, in the lunch break, you just mail me what are the topics not uploaded. I will forward it to the concerned people and I'll ask them to follow it up. Is that fine? Please mail me. You know my mail address, I suppose, vijay.kumar@byju's.com. This is my official mail. address, please mail it. Then I can forward it and I can follow it up. So it becomes official. If you mail, it becomes official, and they will also quickly do it if they have not done it. Okay, we'll come back here. The Pallavas of Kanchipuram. All clear here? All of you? Are you clear? Can I move on? Next dynasty, Pallavas. The Pallavas of Kanchipuram, 6th century to 9th century AD. These are the great Pallavas or the imperial Pallavas. They are called the imperial Pallavas or the great Pallavas. So they ruled from Kanchipuram. Kanchipuram was their capital. The Pallavas. So we divide the Pallava rule into three parts. Early Pallavas, then we have the second line of rulers, and the later Pallavas. You can see here the Pallavas, early Pallavas. They ruled from 250 to 350 AD. Prakrit was their language, charter language. Important kings of the early Pallavas, Shivaskandavarman, Vijayaskandavarman. Then we have the second line of rulers between 350 to 550 AD. They used Sanskrit in their charters, inscriptions. Vishnugopa was defeated by Samudragupta. So Samudragupta, you remember, he conquered South India. He defeated all the 12 kings of South India. And during that time, one of the kings who was defeated was this Vishnugopa of the Pallavas. Then we have the great Pallavas, 6th century AD to 9th century. They used both Sanskrit and Tamil. Simha Vishnu was their founder. Mahendravarman I, Narasimhavarman I. These are some of the important kings. So we are going to discuss about the Pallavas, the great Pallavas who ruled from the 6th century to the 9th century AD. So who were these Pallavas? They were supposedly a local tribe who arose in the Tondai Nadu, land of creepers. So they established their authority in the Tondai Nadu, land of creepers. They're identical with the Pulindas, Ashokan inscriptions. So Ashokan inscriptions, Ashoka mentions about Cholas, Cheras, Pandyas, Tamraparni, and apart from that, Pulindas. So Pulindas in Ashokan inscriptions is supposed to be referring to Pallavas. Okay, so they were under the Shatavahanas. The Pallavas, once the Shatavahana empire became weak, they proclaimed themselves independent, the Pallavas. So early Pallavas, the second line of Pallavas, and the later Pallavas. Okay, so we have seen this. They ruled for about 3 centuries over South India with Kanchi as their capital, Kanchipuram near Tamil Nadu, near Chennai in Tamil Nadu. Famous for saris, silk saris, Kanchipuram. And there's a temple there also, Kanchi Kamakoti Pitam. There's a mata of established by Shankaracharya. And there's famous Kanchi Kamakshi temple. Now, the Krishna Tungabhadra Doab became the bone of contention. We have seen this. Pallavas and Chalukyas fought over this area. The Krishna Tungabhadra Doab, right? Now, I have told you the story of the Chalukyas. I have told you the story of the Chalukyas of Badami. If I do it ulta, if I tell the same story ulta, it becomes the story of the Pallavas. For example, if I tell you, Pulakeshi II killed Mahendravarman I of the Pallavas. So I will say Mahendravarman I was killed by Pulakeshi II. So that becomes the Pallavan history. Anyway, it is not as simple as that. Most of the information overlap, as you can understand, because we are talking about the Pallava Chalukya conflict. But again, we will talk about it. Simha Vishnu. So here, please understand, the Pallavas claimed descent from Vishnu. So they claimed descent from Vishnu. They said Vishnu was their family god, family deity. And they were all descendants of Vishnu. But very surprisingly, only two Pallava kings were Vishnu worshippers. One was Simha Vishnu, and the other was Nandivarman II. Only these two, the first and the sixth, were Vishnu worshippers. The rest all were Shiva worshippers. Simha Vishnu and Nandivarman the first. Nandivarman the second. These two were Vishnu worshippers. Rest all were Shiva worshippers. So Simha Vishnu was the founder of this dynasty. He was a follower of Vaishnavism. Then we have Mahendravarman the first. Mahendravarman the first. So the same person who was killed by Pulakesha II later in the Battle of Pulalur. So he was a person who was interested in arts and crafts, encouraged sculpture, encouraged painting, encouraged music, etc. So Mahendra Varma, the first, is called by different titles: Gunabhara, Matta Vilasa, Vichitra Chitta, Chitra Karapuli, that is adapted painting. So he was very good at painting, I believe. So Chitra Karapuli, Chettakari, builder of temples, Chettakari. So Mahendra Varma was a multi-talented person, encouraged a lot of arts and crafts, fine arts like painting, and also built temples. Now he wrote a very humorous drama, a funny drama called Matta Vilasa Prahasana. For that reason, it's called Matta Vilasa also. Matta Vilasa Prahasana. In English, a farce of drunken sport. This is in Sanskrit language, a farce of drunken sport. So this is a story of a Kapalika. So Kapalikas are one of the people who follow extreme forms of Shaivism. Pashupata, Kapalika, Kalamukha, Goraknathis, Aghoris, Kanfata yogis, Naga sadhus. They're all extreme. They follow extreme forms of Shaivism. So one of the extreme sects within Shaivism is Kapalikas. So there was a Kapalika, I believe. He had a begging bowl, which was basically a human skull. So he was using a human skull as a begging bowl. And he was sleeping under the tree, this Kapalika. When he got up from his sleep, he saw the bowl missing, and the skull was missing. And there was one Brahmin who was sitting nearby. He accused him of having stolen his begging bowl. And that there was an argument. That is the main theme of the story. Matta Vilasa Prahasana, a humorous drama, was written by him. Ultimately, what happened to that bowl? A dog would have taken and run away. A dog would have taken that particular skull, a begging bowl, and run away. So ultimately, it was discovered that it was a dog which had taken it and run away, not anybody else. So this is the theme of the story. Then, so you can see one of the sculptures in the temple of Mahendra Varman the First. In one of the temples, his sculpture is there. Then he was initially a Jain. Mahendra Varma was a Jaina. He was to follow Jainism. Later, he was converted to Shaivism by a saint, a Shaiva saint called Tirunavukkarasu. Tirunavukkarasu. So, Tirunavukkarasu. So, remember these. You do Sandhi, divide the words into two or three parts. Tiruna Vukkarasu. Did you get me? Divide the words. It becomes easy. So, Tirunavukkarasu converted himself to Shaivism from Jainism. And Mahendra Varma, as you all know, was killed by Pulakeshi in the Battle of Pulalur. He was succeeded by his son, Narasimhavarman I, greatest of the Pallavas. So later he killed Pulakeshi in 3 battles. He defeated Pulakeshi in 3 battles: Suramara, Manimangala, Pariyala, and then he killed him and took the title Vatapikonda, Mamalla, and founded the city of Mamallapuram. So you can see here on your screen, this is Mamallapuram on your screen. Um, a nice place for a holiday, short holiday. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. A lot of monuments of the Pallavas are found here at Mamallapuram, off the coast of Bay of Bengal, about 50 kilometers from Chennai. Mahabalipuram, that's the name of the new name, Mahabalipuram. Hyun Sang visited Kanchi. So Hyun Sang not only visited Harsha's kingdom, court, he also came to the Chalukyan court of Pulakesha II and also Narasimhavarman's court. Then he is supposed to have helped the Prince of Sri Lanka to capture power in Sri Lanka. He sent 2 naval expeditions to help a prince called Manavarman to come to power in Sri Lanka. This is according to the Mahavamsha, one of the Ceylonese chronicles. Dvipavamsha, Mahavamsha, Kulavamsha, these are all books written by Buddhist monks of Sri Lanka. So the Mahavamsha tells us that Narasimhavarman the First helped the king, prince of Sri Lanka to come to power there in that island nation. Right? So here we have the 7 pagodas, popularly called 8 pagodas. These are monolithic temples. They belong to the period of Narasimhavarman the First. So earlier, you can see here, there were huge boulders here. I'll discuss this in detail when we do art and architecture topic. But as of now, just understand this. There are 8 pagodas. They are called 8 pagodas. They're all named after the Pandava family. Pandava family, that is, Pandava brothers. Yudhishthir, Dharmaraja, who is also called Yudhishthir, Then Bhima. Bhima is the second Pandava brother, second brother. Third was Arjuna, the middle one, therefore called Madhyama Pandava, Arjuna. Then Nakula Sahadeva, Nakula and Sahadeva. And then Draupadi, their queen. So these are the five Pandava brothers along with Draupadi. So there are five temples here, monolithic temples called Rathas. Then the sixth one is called Ganesha. It is named after Ganesha, one of the temples. The sixth one is called Ganesha. Then Pidari, local god called Pidari. And the eighth one is Valayan Kuttai. Valayan Kuttai, a local god called Valayan Kuttai. So together they are called 8 pagodas. They're all dedicated to Lord Shiva. These temples, these are monolithic temples. Monolithic temples. Monolithic means carved out of one stone, as you know. Monolithic temples dedicated to Lord Shiva. Okay, so these rathas, they're called rathas. They're dedicated to Lord Shiva. Belong to the period of Narasimhavarman the first. Then Mahendravarman II, you all know this, he was killed by Vikramaditya the first. Pulakeshi's son killed him, and he reconquered Badami. Then he took revenge against the Pallavas. So he killed Mahendravarman II, Vikramaditya the first. Then Narasimhavarman II, known by various titles, Rajasimha, Agamapriya, Shankara Bhakta. Agama is Agama Shastras. So he patronized Agama Shastras, Brahminical sources, books. Shankara Bhakta means he was a worshipper of Shiva, as it has a name suggests. Rajasimha, known by various titles. And the Dravida style of temple building began during his period. So Dravida style of temple building began during his period. We have the first freestanding structural temple built on the Dravida model in Mahabalipuram called the Shore Temple. It was built by Narasimhavarman II. So on your screen, you can see here, there's a beautiful temple overlooking the Bay of Bengal. This is called Shore Temple. This is the oldest, you can see here, oldest surviving freestanding structural temple in South India. So this is the first temple, first freestanding temple. So because what is the meaning of freestanding? Early temples were found inside caves. So those are called cave temples like mandapas, rathas. They're all examples of, mandapas are examples of cave temples. Rathas are monolithic temples. This type of temple, first freestanding temple built in the Dravida style. Built in the Dravida style is this. The Shore Temple at Mahamallapuram, built by Narasimhavarman II. Are you there with me, all of you? Yeah, Bhim was the elder brother of Arjun, Harsha. Pandava brothers, five Pandava brothers. Dharmaraja or Yudhishthir, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula and Sahadeva. All of you are clear? So this is the first structural temple in Dravida style, built by Narasimhavarman II. Then he also built another temple, the Kailashanatha temple at Kanchipuram. You can see this, the Kailashanatha temple at Kanchipuram. So this was a temple dedicated to Lord Shiva, Shiva Gangadhara as he called it, and this was a private temple of Narasimhavarman II. It was not meant for the public. Now it is meant for the public. Public go and frequent this temple. But those days when it was built originally, it was meant for the royal family, particularly the king. Now this temple, the Kailashanatha temple at Kanchipuram, built by Narasimhavarman II, became the model for two more temples. It became the model for two temples. One is the Kailasa temple at Ellora. Kailasa temple at Ellora. This is the world's biggest rock cut temple, built by Krishna the First of the Rashtrakutas. Rashtrakuta king, Krishna the First, built this Kailasa temple at Ellora. So this temple, Kailasa temple at Ellora, was modeled on this temple. The inspiration behind the Kailasa temple at Ellora was this temple at Kanchipuram, built by Narasimhavarman II, the Kailashanatha temple at Kanchipuram. The second temple, which served as a model, which was an inspiration from the Kailashanatha temple at Kanchi, is the Lokeshwara temple. The Lokeshwara or Virupaksha temple built at Pattadakal. It was built at Pattadakal by Loka Mahadevi. It was built by Queen Loka Mahadevi, one of the queens of King Vikramaditya II of the Badami Chalukyas. He was the second greatest of the Badami Chalukyas. We have seen this. So one of his queens was Loka Mahadevi, who built the Lokeshwara temple or the Virupaksha temple at Pattadakal. Virupaksha is a form of Shiva. Virupaksha is a form of Shiva. So this is at Pattadakal. These are the two temples which were inspired by the Kailashanatha temple at Kanchipuram. Did you understand? So till now UPSC has not asked this question, but I anticipate. So know this. Can you raise your hands? Did you understand? Can I move on? Is it Holi today? Is it Holi today or Monday? Monday, I think, is a holiday. We have, Monday is a holiday. Okay. Okay. Monday is Holi, not today. Okay. Thank you. So then all of you are attending the class because I was thinking some people might be missing it because of Holi. We'll come back here. So we have two temples, Shore temple at Mahamalapuram and the Kailashanatha temple at Kanchipuram, built by Narasimhavarma II. Right? Then we have, of course, he patronized this scholar called Dandin, who wrote Dasakumara Charita. This is about Kumara. Kumara is Kartike or Muruga, Subramanya. So Dasakumara Charita. It's about him, about the god Kartike, and Avanti Sundari Kathasara. So Avanti Sundari Kathasara. So these are all, see, if you divide the words, then irrespective of what is your mother tongue, it doesn't matter. So you'll be able to remember. Divide the words, and then you'll be able to remember and easily pronounce it. Yeah, Ganesh is the brother of Kumara. Yeah, Dinesh, you're right. Explain last line. Yeah, just hold on. I said, Shruti, I said, two temples were inspired by the Kailashanatha temple at Kanchipuram. One is the Kailasa temple at Ellora, built by Krishna I of the Rashtrakutas. The second is the Lokeshwara temple or the Virupaksha temple, built at Pattadakal by Queen Loka Mahadevi, one of the queens of King Vikramaditya II of the Badami Chalukyas. Shruti, did you understand? Shruti, hello, did you understand? Okay. So we'll come back here. Nandivarman II. Next king, Nandivarman II. So he was one of the kings who followed Vaishnavism along with the founder. So here Nandivarma, along with Simha Vishnu, you can say along with Simha Vishnu, he was one of the people who followed Vaishnavism. He was defeated by King Vikramaditya II, and he gave his daughter in marriage to him, if you remember. So he got his daughter married to Chalukya king Vikramaditya II. He also defeated the Western Ganga king Sri Purusha. Now, Nandivarma II built the Vaikunta Perumal temple at Kanchipuram. The Vaikunta Perumal temple. This is the Vaikunta Perumal temple at Kanchipuram. This was built by Nandivarma II. And he also patronized the scholar called Bharavi, who wrote Kirata Arjuniam. This was a story written by Bharavi. So, Nandivarman built the Vaikunta Perumal temple at Kanchipuram. So remember this, Narasimhavarman II built two temples, Shore temple at Mahabalipuram and the Kailashanatha temple at Kanchipuram. The Vaikunta Perumal temple at Kanchipuram was built by Nandivarman II. And he patronized a scholar called Bharavi who wrote Kirata Arjuniam. So let me tell you the story of Kirata Arjuniam. Shall I? Are you interested in the story or should I skip it? Okay. What about others? Only Jia is interested? Only Jia is interested in the story or others are also interested? Shall I skip the story? Hmm. Okay, story goes like this. Okay, Dinesh, Gautam. Okay, Dr. Gautam. Okay, now look, listen up. Story goes like this. What is this story? Kirata Arjuniam. Story of Kirata. Kirata means hunter. Story of Kirata, the hunter, and Arjuna. So story goes like this. Um, Shiva and Parvati, husband and wife, are in their headquarters. What is their headquarters? Mount Kailas. So this is Kailas, Mount Kailasa. So they're sitting in Kailasa, Shiva and Parvati, and they're having a pleasant chat, chit chat. Husband and wife are chit chatting. And Shiva is going on a monologue. He's praising Arjuna. He's telling Parvati what a great archer he is. Now, nobody has defeated him, and he has not shown his back to anybody. That means he has not run away from the battlefield. He has not been defeated at all. So nobody has seen his back. At the same time, he tells her that he is a very true devotee of mine. So Parvati is quietly listening to her husband Shiva, who is praising Arjuna's prowess in archery, as well as he being a true devotee of her husband Shiva. So Parvati makes a very peculiar demand now. So she tells her husband, "I want to see Arjuna's back." Arjuna's back, Pete. So Shiva tries to discourage her, but then she is adamant. She says she wants to see him defeated, and she wants to see his back. Now wife is demanding. Otherwise, she will not give him breakfast, lunch, dinner. So Shiva comes down to earth. He has to fulfill that wish of his wife. So he comes down to earth in the form of a Kirata, hunter. And this story, I believe, is before the Mahabharata war. Before the Mahabharata war happened between the Pandavas and the Kauravas. So Arjuna has gone hunting in the forest. And Arjuna was a great archer. All of you know that. And among the various skills in archery he had was what is called Shabdavedi Ban. Shabdavedi Ban. What is the Shabdavedi Ban? That is, he is not able to see the target. And only by hearing the sound, he is able to take aim, and he will aim and discharge his arrow. It will go and hit the target. For example, let us say there's a forest, and in the forest, thick trees are there, and he's not able to hear an animal. But then he cannot see an animal, he can hear an animal, a sound coming from a particular distance. So he will, on the basis of that sound, he will take aim, and then he will shoot his arrow, and it will go and hit the target. So he had this skill, I believe. So he's in the forest. Arjuna, he has gone hunting, and he hears a voice. And thinking that to be an animal, he takes aim and he lets loose his arrow. And that arrow has gone and hit a boar, a wild boar. And he hears the wild boar screaming, and he runs in that direction. And then when he goes to that spot, he sees a wild boar which has died. But not one arrow, but two arrows have struck the boar. He had only discharged one arrow, released one arrow, but two arrows had hit the boar. No, they have struck the boar. Just then the Kirata comes, who is actually Shiva in the form of a hunter. Arjuna doesn't know this. So Arjuna tells the hunter, "My arrow killed the boar." So the hunter replies, "How do you say this? My arrow also has struck the boar. Maybe my arrow had killed the boar earlier, before your arrow came and hit it." So they have an argument. Now, Arjuna tells the hunter, don't you know me? I am the best archer in the world. I am Arjuna. And therefore, my arrow has killed the boar. So Shiva understands that this fellow has got a lot of ego. He is thinking too big of himself. So he wants to, burn his ego, burst his ego. So Shiva tells him, and the Kirata hunter tells him, "I don't know you. I have not heard about your name. I don't know, and I don't care who you are. As far as my knowledge goes, as far as I'm concerned, my arrow has struck the boar." So here, to solve this problem, Shiva proposes that they have a duel, they have a fight. Let us have a wrestling competition, a boxing competition, and whoever wins this competition will claim that boar as their prize. So Arjuna laughs at the Kirata. This fellow, ordinary Kirata hunter, is challenging me, Arjuna, who has defeated so many great people, including gods. demigods. So anyway, Arjuna accepts the challenge. He's overconfident. Arjuna is overconfident, and he accepts the challenge. And they begin to fight. In the first round, it is Arjuna who is winning. Purposely, Hunter is losing. So Hunter is on his back, sleeping on his back, and Arjuna is sitting on top of him, and he is punching him away. So did you understand? Just imagine this: Hunter is on his back, and Arjuna is sitting on his tummy, and he is thrashing him. That is a time when the hunter waves to Parvati. So Arjuna is on top, and then the hunter is on his back, and he waves to Parvati and points out to Arjuna's back. You want to see his back, isn't it? Now you see it. So Parvati waves out from the Kailas. Okay, okay, I've seen it, no problem. So then the tables are turned. The tables are turned. Shiva, the hunter is able to flip Arjuna, and then he thrashes him nicely. Arjuna gets Tyson-like blows. And Arjuna is shocked because he has fought many people earlier, has defeated great and very strong people. But here, an ordinary hunter is thrashing him. And he realizes from the type of punches he was getting that this man is not an ordinary man. He is claiming himself to be a hunter, but he's somebody very special. So Arjuna, he folds his hands before the hunter and tells him, "You are not what you are claiming to be. You are somebody else. Please show me your true form, because I have fought many people and have defeated them. But nobody has thrashed me like this, and beaten me black and blue like this." So Shiva also had given him enough. So Shiva shows his true form with Parvati. Okay, and Arjuna is shocked and surprised. He falls at the feet of Shiva and asks him, "What is all this? Why all this?" And then Shiva tells Parvati wanted to see your back, and that's why I had to play this drama. So Arjuna is supposed to have replied, "If you had just told me, I would have shown my back. What was the purpose of thrashing me like a street dog?" So Shiva laughs at him and then touches Arjuna. It's a magic touch. All the pain goes away. And then, as a reward, he gives him an arrow called Pashupata Astra. Pashupata Astra, a weapon called Pashupata, which Arjuna later uses in the Mahabharata war against the Kauravas. This story is called Kirata Arjuniam, written by Bharavi. It is written in Sanskrit language. And Bharavi was in the court of Nandivarman II. Are you there with me? Right? Hello? All of you. This is the story. Right? So then we have the last king, Aparajita Pallava, who was overthrown by Aditya Chola. So his feudatory, Aditya Chola of the Chola, family, he killed his master Aparajita Pallava and established the Chola dynasty. So the Pallavas were succeeded by the Cholas. Right. So here you can see here Bharavi's Kirata Arjunia. So in a sculpture they show Shiva fighting against Arjuna. Kirata Arjuniam. And ultimately, Shiva is handing over the weapon called Pashupata to Arjuna. So, what is the importance of the Pallava rule? You see, their official language was Sanskrit, not Tamil. Their official language was Sanskrit. That was their official language. Then you have Tamil literature flourished during their period. Like, for example, we have Mahabharata in Tamil, written by Perundevanar. So Perundevanar wrote the Mahabharata in Tamil. We have 63 Shaiva saints called Nayanars or Nayanmars. So Nayanars, there were 63 Shaiva saints, and they composed devotional poems in Tamil language in praise of Shiva. And those poems are called Tirumurai or Dravida Veda. Tevaram, Tirumurai or Dravida Veda. Even now, in the Shiva temples of Tamil Nadu, these poems are sung in praise of Shiva from the Tirumurai or Tevaram or Dravida Veda. Similarly, we have 12 Alvars. Alvars are Vaishnava saints. Alvar. 12 Alvars, Vaishnava saints. They composed devotional poems, literature in Tamil language in praise of Vishnu. They are called Prabandhas or Nalayira Divya Prabandham. Prabandha, also called Nalayira Divya Prabandham. Nalayara Divya Prabandham. So even now in Vishnu temples of Tamil Nadu, poems from the Prabandhas, that is Nalayara Divya Prabandham, is chanted by the priests. So Pallavas, as you all know, developed the Dravida style of temple architecture. They were the ones who laid the foundation of the Dravida style. The first Dravida temple the first structural temple built in Dravida style is at Mamalapuram, the shore temple at Mahabalipuram. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, right? And also they built a number of cave temples, which are the Pallavas, and they are also known for their sculpture. The best example of Pallavan sculpture is Arjuna's penance, also called the descent of the Ganga, which is the largest bas relief in the world. You can see here on your screen. This is Arjuna's penance or descent of the Ganga at Mahabalipuram. Anybody has seen this? Hello? Has anybody gone to Mahabalipuram and witnessed this, seen this particular sculpture? Yeah. That is no, Nandivarma II. Atish Nandivarma II was the one who patronized Bharavi, who wrote Kirata Arjuniam. Now, let me briefly talk to you about this particular picture which you see on your screen. This is a sculpture. This is a sculpture carved on a huge boulder at Mahabalipuram. This is supposed to be the largest bas relief in the world. Largest bas relief in the world, not in India, but in the world. Now, in simple language, what is a bas relief? Now, understand this. You take your coin, 1 rupee coin, 2 rupee coin, or 5 rupee coin. Let us say 5 rupee coin. So you observe the coin. The digit 5, the number 5, is slightly jutting out of the background. It's slightly jutting out. You take a 2 rupee coin, that digit 2, which is mentioned on the coin, imprinted on the coin, is slightly jutting out. That's called bas relief. If you see here on in this picture, it's in the sculpture, all the sculptures are slightly jutting out from the background. Did you understand, Ria? I just now explained to you. They're all jutting out from the background. You take a 5 rupee coin and see how the digit 5 is. It's slightly jutting out. That is called bas relief. Now, this is a story which has been depicted in the form of a sculpture on your screen. You see, this is supposed to be Arjuna's parents, sometimes called descent of the Ganga. You can see here, Ganga is coming down. Where does Ganga stay? In the matted hair of Shiva. So Ganga, that's why it's called Gangadhara. So he's got, Ganga in his matted hair. So here, Bhagirath is supposed to have done penance and brought the Ganga down to earth. You can see here, Ganga is coming. This is Ganga. So she's coming down to the earth. So it's sometimes called Arjuna's penance. You can see here on your screen. Arjuna. This is supposed to be Arjuna. I'll show you. Wait. You see here. This is supposed to be Arjuna. Arjuna is doing penance. And can you see that? All of you. So he's standing on one leg and he is doing penance to Shiva on standing on one leg. And Shiva has appeared. You see, Shiva has appeared to him. He is giving darshan. Okay, he is giving him darshan. And then down below, you see, you have a cat. You can see here a cat. A cat is mimicking Arjuna. It is copying Arjuna. So it is also standing on one leg. The sculptor has shown a cat standing on one leg with folded hands. And looking at the cat, a mouse, okay, a mice has come very nearby, thinking the cat to be a saint. So you can see here, there's a mouse here. This mouse has come very near to the cat. So it's actually a trick on the part of the cat to catch the mouse or catch the mice and eat it. Right? Now, you can see here, this is the riverfront. This is the riverfront. And you have many animals who have come. Animals and birds have come to drink water. And also the river life is shown. Yakshas, Yakshinis, animals, they all have come to the riverfront to drink water. You look at these elephants. They have come along with their calves to drink water, right? And play in the water there. Then we have monkeys. You can see monkeys are sitting here. Monkeys are here. Okay, monkeys are sitting here. Birds are shown. Birds are also shown here, right? So you can see the birds are shown. So these are, animals are there here. A deer, you can see a deer. You have see a lion here, tiger here. So you have entire river life here. Nagas and Naginis, they're all here. Now, um, here you see Vishnu appearing. You see this? This is Vishnu. This is a small temple of Vishnu, and a sage is praying to Vishnu. The Pallavas claim descent from Vishnu. They said Vishnu was their ancestor, and therefore they are descended from Vishnu. Now, you see here some of the sculptures. Their heads are missing. You see here, there's one person sitting here, his head is missing. There's another sculptor here whose head is missing, and another idol here whose head is missing. Now, who are these people? These are supposedly the early Pallava kings. Mahendravarman the first, then Narsimhavarman the first, and Narsimhavarman the second. All their heads were cut off by Vikramaditya. You remember the son of Pulakesha the second. He wanted to take revenge against the Pallavas. His father had been killed by Narsimhavarman the first. So Vikramaditya reconquers Badami and then he attacks Kanchipuram. So that is the time a certain amount of vandalization has been done by the Chalukyas. So their heads are cut off. Mahendravarman the first, Narsimhavarman the first, then Mahendravarman the second. Their heads are missing. This is known as Arjuna's penance or descent of the Ganga, found at Mahabalipuram, the largest bas relief in the world. Did you get me this? Very interesting. If you go there, it's almost about about 30 feet in length. It's about 30 feet. It looks small in this picture here in front of you, but it's about 30 feet in length. And on the entire boulder, they have carved this. Okay, best example of Pallavan sculpture is this descent of the Ganga or Arjuna's penance, found at Mahabalipuram. So let us look at the questions from this chapter. Hyun a Buddhist pilgrim from China, visited the kingdoms of which of the following rulers? Descent of the Ganga. This is Arjuna's penance or descent of the Ganga at Mahabalipuram, Atish. It is found at Mahabalipuram. And look at those elephants. They look so real. Look at the elephants. They look so real, including their calves. So beautiful sculpture. So here, Hyun Sang, a Buddhist pilgrim from China, visited the kingdoms of which of the following rulers? So he visited Harsha's kingdom, you know. So Harsha's kingdom he visited, right? Then he also visited the court of Narsimhavarman the first, the Pallavan king, and he also went to the court of Pulakesha the second. So these are 1, 2, 4. That is the answer. 1, 2, and 4, right? B is the answer. Karishma, you're right. Then next question, which of the following pairs is correctly matched? Title of the king and Pallava king. Vatapikonda. Who is Vatapikonda? Students, can you answer that? Who took the title of Vatapikonda, the conqueror of Vatapi? Narasimha Varman the first. Narasimha Varman the first. But what is the choice say? Mahendra Varman the first. That is wrong. Raja Simha. That was the title of Narasimha Varman the second. So that is the answer. This is correct. This is correct. Mahabali. Who took the title of Mahabali? Mahabali Puram is named after him. Again, Narasimha Varman the first. Narasimha Varman the first, who also took the title of Vatapikonda, Mamalla, Mahabali. So here, not Nandi Varman the second, it is Narasimha Varman the second, first. Then Chittakarapuli. Chittakarapuli is Mahendra Varman the first. Mahendra Varman the first, not Narasimha Varman the first. Okay, right. So this is the answer. Become. Next question. Who of the following kings is eulogized, that is praised, in the Aihole inscription has Sakala Uttara Padishwara? Who is praised in the Aihole inscription as Sakala Uttara Padishwara? Answer without looking at the answer here, asterisk mark. What's the answer? Pooja says A. How can it be A, Pooja? Pooja is fair though. She has not looked at the answer. Shilpa is right. It was Harshavardhana. So, what did Ravi Kirti say in the Aihole inscription? My master, Pulakesha II, defeated the Sakala Uttara Patishwara. That was the title taken by Harsha. Sakala, that means Sakalo. Sakala means all. Uttara is North India, North. Uttara. Patishwara, the Lord of North India. So, he was referring to Harsha. So, the answer is C. Puja, did you get me? Harshavardhana. Then, Who among the following Pallavan kings embraced Vaishnavism? I told you only two of them embraced Vaishnavism. One was Simha Vishnu, the founder, Nandivarman II. So Simha Vishnu and Nandivarman II. 3 and 4 is the answer. Which of the following Badami kings repulsed the attack of the Arabs of Sindh on South Gujarat? It was Vikramaditya II. But then he personally did not do it. His governor of South Gujarat, Avani Jashraya Pulakeshi. Avani Jashraya Pulakesi. He was the one who repulsed the attack of the Arabs of Sindh over South Gujarat. He was the governor of South Gujarat. That was during the time of Vikramaditya II. Arrange the following Chinese visitors to India in the correct chronological sequence. So who came first? Who came first? Fahian came first. You all know. Then came Hyun then came Wang Yutse, and last came Itzing. So the answer is B. The answer is B. Fahian, 3, 2 is Hyun Wang Yutse is 1, and Itzing is 4. It cannot be C. Dinesh, how can it be C? It is 3, 2, 1, 4. Itzing was the last to come, Dinesh. Okay. We will take Wang Yutse. He was the commander of the Chinese king, but then he came as an ambassador to the court of Harsha. But then he saw somebody else sitting on the throne. It is Arunaswa. Then, which one of the following inscriptions refer to the invasion of the Huns during the reign of Skandagupta, Bitari? So this should be a Gupta. This is a Gupta period question, but I have put it here. It is Bitari. It talks about the victory scored by Huna, by Skandagupta over the Hunas. Emperor Harsha's southward march, 2003 question UPSC. Harsha's southward march was stopped on the Narmada river by Pulakeshi II. Pulakeshi II was the one who stopped Harsha's southward march. Okay, right? Easy question. 2013, the Chinese traveler Yuan Song, who visited India, recorded the general conditions and culture of India at that time. In this context, which one of the following statements are correct? They're asking which are correct. The roads and river routes. So here you see travelers, not travelers to India. Travelers to India. This is an important topic for art and culture. In art and culture topic. And please refer to my, apart from my PPTs, I have given quite a lot of information, travel logs, which traveler came, etc. You would please refer to Nitin Singhania. Nitin Singhania, this is the Bible for art and culture. Nitin Singhania's book on art and culture. In this book, we have a separate chapter on travelers, various travelers who came to India and their observations. I will, of course, give you a supplementary note on Fahian, Hyunsang, Itzing, etc. I'll give you that later in the form of a Word file. I'll send it across to you. I'll note down that in my diary and then I'll do it to you. I'll send it across to you. So what does Hyunsang tell? Roads and river routes were completely immune from robbery. This is wrong. Because Hyunsang 2 times was robbed by by dacoits. So Hyunsang was waylaid and robbed 2 times. So he never says it was immune from robbery. He was a victim of robbery. Hyunsang, right? Then, as regards punishment for offences, ordeals by fire, water, poison were the instruments for determining the innocence or guilt of a person. This is correct. So he makes this observation. You have trial by ordeal. What is trial by ordeal? They're called divine tests. They're called divine tests. Those days it was there. Let us say somebody is accused of a theft. Some servant in somebody's house is accused of a theft. Some jewelry is missing, and that servant is blamed for having robbed that lady's jewelry. He might be innocent person. So how to find out whether he's innocent? He'll be made to walk on a hot bed of coal, hot burning coal. If nothing happens to his feet, he's innocent. That's called trial by ordeal, an example of trial by ordeal. So ordeals by fire, water, poison. He is made to drink poison, and nothing happens to him. He is innocent. Then if he dies, then he is guilty. So that is called trial by ordeal. Did you understand? Hello, all of you. Trial by ordeal. Thank God we are not living in those days, those times. Trial by ordeal. Then the tradesmen had to pay duties at ferries and barrier stations. Select the correct answer using the codes given below. So we have seen this. Yeah, this is correct. The tradesmen had to pay duties at ferries and barrier stations. So 2 and 3 are the right answer. First statement is wrong. So B is the answer. So Atish, it is Fahian, Hyun Sang, Wang Hyutse, and Itsing. Itsing comes last. So what you have written is wrong, Atish. We have discussed this. Fahian was the first to come, followed by Hyun Sang, then Wang Yutse and Itsing. Now Dinesh is correct. Okay. Then look at this question, 2021 question. From the decline of Guptas until the rise of Harshavardhana in the early 7th century, which of the following kingdoms were holding power in North India? So we discussed it. I began this session like this. On the decline of the Guptas, we have a number of feudatories who were under the Guptas who became independent. So I gave you a chart. There's a chart also in the PPTs. So the Guptas of Magadha, later Guptas of Magadha, that is correct. The Paramaras of Malwa, no. The Pushyabodhis of Thaneshwar, the Maukaris of Kanauj, the Maitrakas of Vallabhi, Yadavas of Devagiri is wrong. So the answer is 1, 3, 4, and 6. 1, 3, 4, and 6. These are the um, from the decline of Guptas until the rise of Harshavardhana. Which of the following kingdoms were holding power in northern India? You can see here. I'll just go back here. Look at this chart. Wait. Look at this chart here. Pushyabhutis, Taneshwar, Maukharis, Kanauj, Maitrakas of Vallabhi, Kamarupa, Pradyaksheshpur, Gaudas, Karna Suvarna, later Guptas ruled over Magadha with Patliputra as capital. Now we'll come back to the PPT. Yeah, you can see that. Guptas of Magadha, that is later Guptas of Magadha with Patliputra as capital, Pushyabhutis, Maukharis, Maitrakas. Yadavas of Devagiri come later, Paramaras of Malwa also come later. Okay, so they are not between the decline of the Guptas and the rise of Harshavardhana. Are you there with me, all of you? So 1, 3, 4, 6 is the answer. Narsimha the first. Jia Narsimha the first is the greatest of the Pallavas, not Narsimha the second. And as you can see on your screen, the fifth Chinese traveler is here. He came to India. After that, Doklam happened. The president of China, Jinping, what's his name? Jinping, you would know better. Fifth Chinese traveler to come to India, right? So this is the end of ancient India. Xi Jinping, yeah, Xi Jinping. So they met at Mahabalipuram, the Prime Minister of India and President of China, and then happened Doklam. Okay, so this is about ancient India. I have finished ancient India. It is 2:50 on my watch. 2:50 on my watch. 10 minutes to go for lunch break. So can we have an early lunch break and come back? Instead of 3:40, we can meet at 3:30. So that will be 40 minutes. Is it fine? All of you, please raise your hands because I cannot give you an overview in just 10 minutes. I cannot do that. And then we go for a gap and again come back and start from the beginning is not great. So we start early 10 minutes. Yes, but we meet at 3:30. Is it fine? 3:30 p.m. we meet. Right? So you have your lunch, take a small nap and come. So please understand. See, I have seen some comments here. The thing is, I have been given this responsibility of dealing with this topic, ancient, medieval, etc. And then what is the reference point I have? The reference point is the previous year question papers. So if you're able to answer the previous year question papers asked by the UPSC, that means you're doing the right thing. You're going in the right manner. You're doing the right studies. So I'm asking you, With whatever I have discussed in the class, are you able to answer those previous year question papers pretty easily? Whatever questions have been asked by the UPSC, most of you, I suppose, are able to answer the question. That is a reference point. Are you there with me? Yeah, mostly you're able to answer. So you get a broad idea, and we are going a little bit beyond the basic information. We are going into deeper aspects of the subject. So I start in a basic manner and give you advanced information also. So when you read your textbook, it becomes a complete preparation. Already you know about 80%, 85% of the topic. Some 10-15% of the topic and some more clarity. When you read a textbook, that chapter, it'll complete your preparation. Okay, so you go for a lunch break and come. We'll meet at 3:30.